so bad, it's not so bad. I want to thank you for giving me the best day of my life. Oh, just to be with you is having the best day of my life.
This is Nationwide 90 FM, owned and operated by Nationwide News Network. We broadcast from our studios at 6 Bradley Avenue, Kingston 10, Jamaica. Transmitting on the FM 90 band. 90.3 from Peters Rock in St. Andrew and Murphy Hill in St. Anne. Serving Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, St. Anne, parts of Clarendon, St. Mary, and St. Thomas. 90.5 from Huntley in Manchester, transmitting to St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Manchester, Clarendon, rural St. Andrew, and parts of St. Thomas. And 90.7 from Cooper's Hill in St. Andrew and Flower Hill in St. James, serving Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, sections of Trelawney, Kingston, St. Catherine, Clarendon, St. Mary, Portland, and St. Anne. Nationwide 90 FM also broadcasts on the World Wide Web on nationwideradiojm.com and on Flow on channel 916. Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media. You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6 o'clock.
From the studios of Nationwide Radio, morning radio the right way. It's Nationwide This Morning.
A very good morning to you. I'm Tawna Thomas. Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning, Tuesday, July 16, 2024. Statin reports economic growth of 1.4% for the first quarter of the fiscal year. Murders are down 14% so far this year. JACRA estimates damage to spice crops at $266 million. In regional news, Grenada opposition takes credit for multi-million-dollar CRIF payout. In international news, ex-NATO chief to lead UK defense review and says China is among deadly challenges. In sports, Joseph Reds Pereira says he's anticipating one change to the West Indies 11 for the second test against England. And in business this morning, shares in Donald Trump's social media company surge after Saturday's assassination attempt. The details after the break.
Did you know that the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, or BSJ as we are known, has been serving and helping Jamaican businesses to grow for over 54 years, now testing over 57,000 products annually? The BSJ develops and promotes standards for products consumers see and use every day. We stand tall as your quality assurance partner, testing a range of products including foods, construction materials, petroleum products, packaging material, cosmetics, paints, and pharmaceuticals. Did you know that the BSJ has over 20 labs in Kingston that conduct these tests, operating at the highest international standards, giving you the speed to take your products from the lab to market, driving your business growth with 100% confidence? Contact us at 876-618-1534.
Catch the first news of the day, a comprehensive package of local, international, sports, and business news. The news at 6 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin says the Jamaican economy grew by 1.4% in the first quarter of the fiscal year. The information is contained in the Institute's quarterly review of the country's gross domestic product. George Davis has more in this report.
Statin says the goods-producing industries grew by 1.9%, while the services industries grew by 1.3%. Statin says growth in the goods-producing industries was driven mainly by increased output in agriculture, forestry, and fisheries, which recorded growth of 7.4%. Mining and quarrying also boosted the performance of the goods-producing industries, recording robust growth of 18.7%. Manufacturing grew by 0.8%, while construction grew by 3.7%. The increase in the growth in the services industries was driven by improved performance in hotels and restaurants, which grew by 6.9%, transport, storage, and communication, which grew by 3.5%, while finance and insurance services saw growth of 2.2%. Growth in the services industries was also driven by a 2.6% increase in the category Other Services, a 6.5% growth in electricity and water supply, and a 0.3% growth in real estate, renting, and business activities. Wholesale and retail, repairs, installation of machinery and equipment fell by 2.2%, while the producers of government services industries fell by 0.5%. Meanwhile, Statin says overall, the economy recorded growth of 0.3% in the first quarter of 2024 when compared to the fourth quarter of 2023. It says the Jamaican economy grew by 1.9% for the 2023-24 fiscal year when compared to the 2022-23 fiscal year. George Davis for Nationwide News.
Jamaica's homicide rate is continuing its downward trend. The latest statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, show that murders are now down 14% so far this year. According to the JCF, 626 people were killed between January 1 and July 13 this year. That's 103 fewer than the corresponding period last year. Robian Williams reports.
St. James continues to record the most murders in any police division, with 78 homicides as at July 13. But that figure is still 29 fewer than the 107 murders recorded in the division during the corresponding period in 2023. St. James is followed by Westmoreland, which had 59 murders. The St. Andrews South Division recorded 16 fewer murders for the period, with 52 homicides. In St. Catherine North and South, both divisions had 46 people killed. Murders have increased in Trelawney, St. Elizabeth, East Kingston, St. Andrew Central, and St. Andrew North when compared to 2023. On the other hand, Portland continues to record the least number of murders, with 6. Meanwhile, shootings have declined by 1%, coming in at 565 as at July 13. That's 7 fewer incidents than the number recorded for the corresponding period last year. Other major crimes such as rapes, robberies, and break-ins continue to decline. Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, Leighton Johnson, says the union has retained the services of an attorney in a lawsuit that aims to nullify its current 3-year wage agreement with the government. The lawsuit was filed in the Supreme Court last Wednesday by the immediate past president of the JTA, LaSonia Harrison. Mr. Johnson declined to comment further on the matter.
Of course, we are aware of the actions that have been filed against us. We have since retained counsel, and they are in the process of reviewing the situation. Until then, I'm not able to speak on it.
Leighton Johnson, president of the JTA. The claimant in the lawsuit, Ms. Harrison, contends that the virtual special delegates vote held in March last year to accept the wage offer presented by the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service was in breach of the JTA's constitution. According to the lawsuit, the JTA's constitution states that voting must be carried out by the Assembly of Delegates at a physical location and not virtually. Despite being the chairman of the virtual meeting at the time, in her capacity as JTA president, Ms. Harrison contends that the acceptance of the salary package is void on the basis that the JTA was not properly constituted in carrying out the vote. 80% of the delegates voted to accept the government's offer of a 20% minimum wage increase, which became effective April 1, 2022. Ms. Harrison is represented by the law firm Hugh Waldman and Company. The Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA, says there is an estimated $266 million worth of damage to several crops within the agriculture industry. JACRA says this is based on its preliminary assessment of the destruction to farms following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Dana Davy reports.
JACRA says Hurricane Beryl left coffee, pimento, cocoa, nutmeg, turmeric, and ginger crops damaged across several parishes. It estimates that the widespread damage will result in $266,500,000 in losses for farmers. JACRA provided a detailed assessment of the damage caused by Hurricane Beryl to each crop. For coffee, JACRA says 60% of farms and farming infrastructure were damaged across every parish except Kingston and St. Andrew. Still, it notes that only 10% of the coffee industry was impacted by the storm, as the actual berry loss was minimal. The coffee industry was expected to yield around 250,000 boxes for the 2024 to 2025 crop year. JACRA says that 10% or 25,000 boxes of coffee beans represent a $200 million drop in revenue. For pimento, 50% of farms in St. Thomas, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and St. Anne were damaged. Several pimento trees were broken or toppled over. JACRA says the pimento crop year was expected to yield around 200,000 kilograms. However, it says the damage caused by Beryl has resulted in a potential revenue loss of $22 million. The authority says the 2024 to 2025 cocoa crop year was expected to yield around 10,000 boxes. But JACRA says with 40% of cocoa farms in St. Thomas and St. Mary damaged by Hurricane Beryl, farmers could potentially see a loss of $3.5 million. About 20% of turmeric and ginger farms were impacted by Beryl, but farmers of the crops will still feel it in their pockets. JACRA estimates that the storm has left them with $40 million in the hole. According to JACRA, the crop with the least amount of potential revenue loss is nutmeg. Only $1 million in losses were recorded on farms in Portland and St. Mary. JACRA is recommending that help be given to farmers by first clearing blocked roads in the Blue Mountains. The authority is also calling for more fertilizer to assist with crop rebound and chemicals to control coffee leaf rust. JACRA says distribution is also needed for more seeds for the affected crops. Dana Davy for Nationwide News.
The Ministry of Education says over $200 million will be disbursed across its 7 regions to address urgent repairs to schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. In an update on Monday, the ministry said 212 schools suffered damage from the hurricane. It says the affected schools have been categorized into priority levels to streamline and accelerate the repair process. According to the ministry, 64 schools are identified as being severely damaged. It says these schools will need immediate attention and will be assigned to contractors under an emergency contract procurement strategy. The Education Ministry added that 58 schools are moderately impacted, while 91 received minor damage. The ministry noted that major, minor, and cleanup works are scheduled for the week of July 19 using the emergency procurement process. It also stated that $210 million have been approved for the ministry's 7 regions. By Wednesday, $30 million will be dispersed to each region. The ministry says its regions are also advised to reallocate funds according to the post-disaster assessment report. Minister of Energy Darrell Vaz says areas worst affected by the passage of Hurricane Beryl should have electricity restored by August 5 or sooner. He was speaking Monday evening on Nationwide at 5. Mahir Stewart has that story.
The Energy Minister had requested that Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, provide him with an electricity restoration schedule and an effective communications plan on Monday. Minister Vaz says according to the information JPS provided, over 55,000 JPS customers are still without electricity.
So I got a report, or a detailed report, obviously, which was for today. As it stands now, including the hardest hit areas, as of this morning, 55,400 JPS customers awaiting restoration. That's right across the island, including the hardest hit areas.
Minister Vaz notes that more than 26,000 of the 55,000 affected JPS customers are in St. Elizabeth. The parish was one of the worst affected by Hurricane Beryl. Mr. Vaz says St. Elizabeth residents still without power should expect restoration by August 5.
26,000 cliff out of the 55,000.
Are in St. Elizabeth?
Already, yeah, in
Okay.
that belt.
So you have another 29,000 outside of St. Elizabeth without power. Right. And what is the timeline are they giving you now that they're working with?
The timeline for the badly affected areas, the rollout for that is latest August 5th.
Minister Vaz has acknowledged the frustration of Jamaicans who are still without electricity since Beryl's passing. He says the lack of electricity has also hampered the restoration of other utilities, such as water and the telecommunications network. Mr. Vaz has provided updates on the restoration of services to customers of Flow and Digicel, as well as the National Water Commission.
I'm seeing that only 52% of the NWC critical pumps are back up. Flow is at 49% restoration from 658 sites. They now have 324 back up. In terms of Digicel, who has 96 sites, they have 63%. They have 60 sites that are back up.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Health officials have condemned more than 15,000 pounds of food from hundreds of food establishments across the country since the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Director of Environmental Health in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Michael Williams, made the revelation on Nationwide at 5 Monday evening.
On top of the 3,000 establishments that we have visited, we have closed close to 500 food establishments in the immediate aftermath of Beryl. And a lot of these establishments were closed because they were out of power supply and out of drinking water, potable water. And of such, these two situations would compromise food safety, because now we're talking about spoilage, we're talking about lack of potable water for cleaning and sanitization within the restaurants, the food shops. And so we condemned over 15,000 pounds of food. And the work continues.
Mr. Williams notes that the majority of the food condemned came from establishments along the south coast.
We observe that along the north coast, a lot of their food establishments had the privilege of having generators. It wasn't so in other locales. And so there was a lot of condemnation, and these foods had to be condemned and were dumped. A lot of the food shop owners, the restaurateurs, a lot of them were very cooperative and closed without any coercion. Good. And this we respected. But there are others out there who would have passed on the unsafe food to the consuming public.
Michael Williams, Director of Environmental Health in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. He adds that more than a week following the passage of Hurricane Beryl, public health inspectors are continuing their increased drive to inspect food establishments across the country in a move to ensure contaminated or spoiled food doesn't get out to the unsuspecting public. And that's it for the local segment of the news. Up next, regional and international.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies including plugs, switches, panel boards and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
In regional and international news, this morning, regional news. Grenada's opposition New National Party NNP says it is pleased to see that the country's early decision to join the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility CRIF is now bearing fruit in the form of a substantial payout. CRIF has announced the payout of just over $44 million to Grenada following Hurricane Beryl. The NNP, led by Dr. Keith Mitchell, says the payout demonstrates the foresight and preparedness it championed while in government. The NNP says Grenada was among the first countries to join CRIF, which it did in 2007. International news, former NATO leader George Robertson will lead a review of Britain's military strategy to counter what he calls the deadly quartet of China, Iran, Russia and North Korea. Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced the Strategic Defence Review on Tuesday as one of his first major acts after taking office on July 5. Starmer, who leads a centre-left Labour Party government, has promised to end the shrinking of the UK's military scene during 14 years of Conservative Party rule. Starmer also says he will increase defence spending to 2.5% of GDP from its current level of about 2.3%, but has not set a deadline. He says spending would be responsibly increased to bolster Britain's hollowed-out armed forces. The Ministry of Defence says the review would aim to strengthen UK homeland security, bolster Ukraine in its fight against Russia, and modernise and maintain Britain's nuclear arsenal. And that's it for regional and international. Up next, sports.
I stay locked into Olympics because, of course, I'm Jamaican.
I tune into the Olympics, but I'm always busy. What have to know when Sharika Jackson beat Shakari?
She's storming to victory here. Watch the clock. This is so fast.
Brother, I have to see every notification for the Olympics. Me, we want to hear every run.
The Jamaican's coming. He's closing. What a performance.
Every jump and every fling.
Oh, wow. Oh, that is
live. Nothing can miss me.
We're always on the move.
So while I'm driving,
Thompson here from 60 yards, moving away, and she gets the victory.
She's jogging, or at work.
Hurry, the race is about to start.
We can't miss a beat.
Oh, me?
Because we keep it locked.
To the only station for the Paris Olympics.
Nationwide.
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 90 FM.
Attention all commuters, your JUTC fares just got lower. Use your Smarter card today and pay only $50. Yes, only $50. Travel safe and hassle-free with the JUTC using your Smarter card. But wait, there's more. Get 3 free rides with your first Smarter card top-up before May 31. With your Smarter card, paying your fare is easier. Say goodbye to coins and hello to hassle-free travel. Don't miss this opportunity when you travel with the JUTC, your route to excellence. Conditions apply.
On your mark, set, get ready to go! It's time for the True Juice 5K, the one-of-a-kind experience taking you through the beautiful True Juice Orchards in Boardwalk, Sunday, July 21, 2024. Register now at truejuice.com. Entry fee only $2,500. Come run, walk, and have fun while raising funds for the Linset Hospital. Follow at True Juice on Instagram for more details.
Time now for your morning sports. Veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reds Pereira says he's anticipating one change to the West Indies 11 for the second test against England at Trent Bridge starting on Thursday. The Windies trail 1-0 in the three-match series following a crushing innings and 114-run defeat in the first test at Lord's. Pereira believes Shamar Joseph should give way to Kevin Sinclair.
Shamar Joseph is not really test match fit yet. He certainly could play in the third test. Sinclair will lengthen the batting and will add the fifth bowler to the attack. He's brilliant in the field anywhere. I think a question must be asked to Miles Bascom. While Shamar Joseph was allowed to go back to Guyana after finishing his duties for the 2020 World Cup, both himself and Moti was allowed to go back to their respective homes, and therefore when the system came, Beryl affected the flights to London, hence they both arrived late.
Joseph Reds Pereira. Shelley Fraser-Pryce is among 14 Jamaicans scheduled to compete at the World Athletics Continental Track and Field meeting in Switzerland on Tuesday. Fraser-Pryce, who will be competing at her last Olympic Games in Paris this summer, will run in the women's 100 meters at the meet alongside compatriots Serena Cole, Brianna Williams, Jodianne Williams, Crystal Slowly, Sasha-Lee Forbes, Serena Cole, Kishana Niles, and Kemba Nelson. The men's 100 meters will have former national champion Rohan Watson. National record holder Rasheen McDonald is down for the men's 400 meters, while Stacey Williams runs in the women's race. Reigning world champion Daniel Williams and Amoy Brown will compete in the 100 meters hurdles, while on the men's side, national champion Rashid Broadbell is the lone Jamaican entered for the event. Lana Tava Thomas will run in the women's 200 meters, where Cole and Williams will also have lanes. Now, sprint legend Usain Bolt has produced a song encouraging Jamaicans to throw their support behind the country's athletes who will be competing at the Paris Olympics. Bolt, a Red Stripe ambassador for the Go for Gold and Glory campaign, collaborated with Basic Signal and Chanel Muir on the project that is expected to become the team's song.
Jamaica, make some noise and cheer on Team Jamaica. So we do it every time when we celebrate. Tell them start the race at Jamaica, we say all the way.
Yeah. When we touch the stadium, you know say we jamming it. From them start the race at Jamaica, we say all the way. Jamaica.
Come at a level. You know you want one, we say listen to the news. Jamaica mash up Paris, top runner. This is how we beat, we are born a pass. Launch up, shot put a blast up. Jump every hurdle, no we no fall shot. Action back when the celebration start.
Pot cover
when the celebration start.
Wish we could get a little bit more of that, but at another time. Finally, in your morning sports, it's now time for the Nationwide Olympic Fact, sponsored by the Real Estate Board and Commission of Strata Corporations.
This is Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by the Real Estate Board and the Commission of Strata Corporations.
Did you know that Jamaica is the only country to have athletes finishing first, second, and second in a final at the Olympic Games? Yes, that's a fact. Jamaican athletes finished 1-2-2 in the women's 100 meters final at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. Shelley Fraser-Pryce took gold in 10.78 seconds, and Sharon Simpson and Karen Stewart both finished second with identical times of 10.98 seconds.
That was Nationwide's Olympic Facts, brought to you by the Real Estate Board and the Commission of Strata Corporations.
And that's it for your morning sports.
eliminate the hassle of managing multiple medications that can be confusing. Thanks to Horton's Pharmacy. Introducing RX Pack, a mobile app available in the App Store and Google Play Store. RX Pack is specially designed for you to order and manage your medications. Download today for free. That's RX Pack for better medication management. Call 876-RX-0-RX-RX or visit our website, hortonsrx.com, for more details.
In business this morning, shares in Donald Trump's social media company have surged after he survived an assassination attempt on Saturday. Shares in Trump Media, which runs the Truth Social platform, closed up about 31%. The price had risen as much as 70% in pre-market trading over the weekend before falling back again. Analysts said the gains reflected bets that the shooting had improved Mr. Trump's chances of winning the U.S. presidential election in November. A bullet caught the former president's ear during one of his election rallies shortly before the gunman was shot dead by a Secret Service sniper. Mr. Trump said in one of his first interviews since the attack, "I'm supposed to be dead. I'm not supposed to be here." Billionaire Elon Musk is among those who have formally endorsed Mr. Trump since the shooting. And in foreign exchange trading this morning, the Jamaican dollar will open trading today, selling for an average $156.72 against the benchmark U.S. dollar. The Jamaican dollar will open trading this morning, selling for an average $115.81 against the Canadian. And finally, the Jamaican will open trading today, selling for an average $203.47 against the British pound. That's it for business this morning.
For all your musical needs, visit the Music Mart, the most complete music store in Jamaica. Telephone 876-960-7712. The time brought to you by the Music Mart is
6:30.
With so much to do in one location, make Megamart your one-stop shop. Pick up your groceries and houseware needs, grab a bite and pay some bills, fill your prescriptions and see the beauty products in our pharmacy. All in one amazing location. My Megamart, the best value by far.
Have you ever been to a store and felt right at home? The minute you entered, you knew that's where you were meant to be. Picture it. The dedicated warm staff greet you with a smile, show exceptional professionalism, and still make you feel like family. Everything is catered to you. You know you're getting the best, because to them, you're the best. That's the New Walters Pharmacy, 18 High Street, Black River. Call 965-2264 or 476-3939. The New Walters Pharmacy. Pharmacy, everything exceptional.
Celebrate. Tell them start the race at Jamaica, we say all the way.
Yeah. When we touch the stadium, you know say we jamming it. From them start the race at Jamaica, we say all the way. Jamaica.
Come at a level. You know you want one, listen to the news. Jamaica mash up Paris, stop runner. This is how we beat, we are born a pass. Launch up, shot put a blast up, jump every hurdle. No, we no fall shot. Action back when the celebration start.
Pot cover
when the celebration start. Vuvuzela when the celebration start.
Lighter
when the celebration start. Place that down when the celebration start.
What you want,
And from them start the race at Jamaica, we say all the way.
Jamaica, yeah, we little and we tall and we black, gold and green. My team, oh, you mean? Go North Paris, give we way. Make we mash up the place, dominate every race, so we do it. Talent over hype, broke world records and pop a red stripe. It's a celebration, real Jamaican. As a yard, the big nation. So we do it.
So we do it every time when we celebrate. Tell them start the race at Jamaica, we say all the way.
Yeah, when we touch the stadium, you know that we jamming there. From them start the race at Jamaica, we say all the way. Start the race, lighter.
When the celebration start, vuvuzela. When the celebration start,
pot cover.
When the celebration start, yes I know. When the celebration start, watch you on stadium. When the celebration start, Jamaica. When the celebration start, when the celebration start, everything feel right. When the celebration start,
so we do it every time when we say.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. You are tuned in to Nationwide this morning. NTM, the big show. Thank you so much for coming on over and joining us in this space. Happy Tuesday to you. It is Tuesday, July 16, 2024. Very, very happy to have all of you who are able to join us this morning on YouTube. If you're joining us on the app. For those of you who are still able to join us over in Radioland, good morning to you as well on the 90 FM band. And if you're listening on the website, hello to you as well. Good morning to you. I hope you're doing well. I'm Tawna Thomas.
Morning, I'm George.
Hey to you, George.
How you doing?
Your outfit looks similar to the one my dad was wearing.
When?
Yesterday.
For real?
Yeah, I'll show you a picture.
Ting?
Yeah, I'll show you a picture after.
Yeah?
Yeah,
All
man.
right,
His
cool.
suit was navy blue and a similar pattern shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Morning, Mr. Thomas.
Good morning to you. Well, I can't hear me this morning. Because the number of complaints I got yesterday, George, from our listeners in St. Elizabeth, asking, when Nationwide will come back, we can't hear Nationwide. So many complaints. I'm like, listen, I'm going to come back and lodge all of them right at the feet of our engineer, Jermaine King.
See the ball in Monday.
To say hello. The people in St. Elizabeth cannot hear Nationwide and they don't know what to do with themselves, That's their station. If they have but they use their battery operated radios, but because of the issues with our tower, so all they hear is static on the line. Yep. Yeah, Rob, all they hear, even my parents, they can't hear me and they're complaining bitterly.
When you drive out, Nationwide drops off the band. Mm-hmm. So you have the bands on your car screen and you flip through. It's not there in some parts. It comes back, then it goes. So all of the band, 1.1, 0.3, 0.5, 0.7, yeah, just 0.9, everything. So yeah.
And my mom, like trying to have hope. She turns on her pocket radio, George, and pulls up the antenna. And as if she's searching for the signal, I'm like, listen, Mom, you're not going to find anything. It's just down. But at some point soon, we hope that it will be back up so that all the good people of St. Elizabeth and the other areas in the country affected not hearing NNN will be able to hear us soon enough. And, just again, I went home and I was able to experience now firsthand what it feels like to not have electricity. And I'm telling you, yesterday, ice was like manna from heaven. Precious commodity.
You get that feeling there.
Yes. People asking for ice. When you get a cup of ice, man, felt so good to be drinking something cold. But boy, I said to the people, I could appeal to them this morning, George, stop selling the ice expensive.
See it there?
Them rock up the price on the
price
ice.
of gouge.
Yes, start doing that, man. Oh, God, the people need the ice. You're making the ice, sell it reasonable, man, so that everybody can buy ice without breaking their budget too badly. And other people, too, charging up phones for $100 in the neighborhood and stuff like that. Making your money, you're able to buy back some oil, some gas to put back in your generators and all of that. But soon enough, I hope that my neighborhood, George, will have electricity. There are about 2-3 communities out. Mm-hmm. I think JPS is in Portsea, and then I'm hoping that after that they'll be in Red Bank, then Carlisle, and then finally Rosal.
Somebody called from your place yesterday, Junction, I think it was Alric, to say that him say, you have light. And I told him that, yeah, man, town have light, not remembering that.
I'm in the interior. Yeah. My town has light.
The town.
Yeah, Junction has light. But us on the interior, for example, my community, we do not have electricity back yet, but they're not far away from us. And when I was heading in on Friday, I was just looking at the assessment of my neighborhood and from Witters and Son all the way in, and I only saw 2 light poles down. So most of them held up. So I don't see JPS having much of a difficulty restoring electricity to the neighboring neighborhoods and my neighborhood as well. But on my mind this morning, as Jermaine was playing that song talking about Jaminate and Jamaican-ness. On my mind this morning, George and our listeners, the Virgos, not Romaine and Liz.
Yes.
Not Romaine and Elizabeth Virgo, but rather Dale and Shireen Virgo. And they're the parents of ZV, as she's referred to in court documents because she's a minor. Now, ZV is the child who was denied access at the Kensington Primary School in Portmore, St. Catherine because of her locks. The school, as you will recall, George, had justified its position on the no dreadlocks policy by noting that it found that the hairstyle harbored lice and junjo, that is mold infestation, and at the time had threatened to withdraw ZV's admission if the then 5-year-old student's hairstyle remained. Her parents took the matter to the Constitutional Court, claiming the school had breached the child's rights to freedom of expression, equitable and humane treatment by a public authority, among other grounds. The Constitutional Court had dismissed the lawsuit and upheld the school's actions against the child. But on Monday, yesterday, the Court of Appeals said the lower court ruling was wrong and flawed. President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Patrick Brooks, declared that the school's policy against dreadlocks breached ZV's rights to freedom of expression and equitable treatment by a public authority. Importantly, too, the appeal court said those breaches were not demonstrably justified in a free and democratic society. Now, George, listeners, this morning, I stand on the side of those who are pleased that the Court of Appeal ruled that the no dreadlocks policy breached the child's rights to equitable treatment and freedom of expression. Because it was so unfortunate that a 5-year-old child with dreadlocks in Jamaica, the first home of Rastafari, was being subjected to such an unfair policy. An unfair policy that was discriminatory in its nature and could have deprived her of her right to an education.
Yes.
The type of hair she had and hairstyle she carried was singled out for being the one that harbored lice and junjo, suggesting that people with dreadlocks have hygiene issues that is so different from people without dreadlocks. And frankly, any hair type and hairstyle can have lice and junjo. What the rules should have been, George, is for parents to ensure their child or children's hairstyles are properly groomed and maintained throughout the school year. And where that is not being observed, you give the parents a call. Interestingly, too, since the injunction that was put in place to allow the child to attend the very school in 2019, have we heard a word about what the school said dreadlocks would cause? The answer, no, we haven't. The black hair is always, George, being discriminated against in our public schools and the wider society. A sad part of the reality of this predominantly black nation. We've had several cases over the years. I'm sure throughout your time in media, you've heard the cases too. And I recall one in particular, girls at a Westmoreland-based high school being barred from wearing bantanuts, what we call chiny bump, in their school pictures. And in a country with our rich culture and history, I've always been vexed by it. You have some people in authority selectively embracing aspects of our culture. They will pay tribute to Bob Marley, George, and other icons with dreadlocks during Reggae Month and Jamaica Day, but make rules that discriminate a 5-year-old child with the same locks coming to school to get an education. And over these years, I've never been able to hear a strong argument about how any hairstyle affects the teaching and learning process. As I think on these things, I also reflect on what we're passing down or inculcating in the younger generations. Because are we telling children like ZV that something is wrong with them and their hair? Your hair is bad and the other child's hair is good? That cannot be the message we want registered in the minds of young Jamaicans. The message every chance we get should be one of inclusivity and fairness that celebrates Jamaican-ness. And a big part of Jamaican-ness is what? Dreadlocks. I'm heartened by the partial ruling in favor of ZV and her parents. This significant decision by the Court of Appeal sends the right message and has corrected a wrong, I think. And I suspect, too, that this will be a guiding light if any other authority was even considering something like this. This is the direction we should continue to step in. The Education Ministry has similarly been making more of these important steps, George, with one aspect of its recent grooming policy being that Rastafarian students are no longer required to wear tams to cover their hair.
Right.
Or people with locks are not lesser than our people without locks and should be afforded the same treatment. To do that, we must break the mental shackles that still exist. And that's what's on my mind.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. This has always been a touchy issue. And like you, I agree. I'm associating myself with your sentiments. The issue of the tam wearing, though, I think I can understand the tam wearing from the perspective of the very real issue of children being prone to pull the hair, especially of boys with the locks exposed, because I've seen it. Yeah. So the wearing of the tam to put everything under a covering is perfectly fine for me. And I went to school with boys who were Rastafari at both primary school and high school, covered up, not a problem. So what the ones the moment it came out now, because it looks different from most people. So you know, people playing football, run, grab your hair, all those things. You know what children do. Children.
Stop that.
Yeah? So covering it is not an issue, but I can associate myself with everything else you say. It's ridiculous.
My point as well, George. Jamaica hot. And sometimes you want leg of the locks.
So if you want to move the cover, you're supposed to have the freedom to do that.
Yeah, you should have the freedom to do it. Yeah, that's the point.
Dread, naughty dread now. Dreadlock, Congo, bongo, naughty dreadlock in a Babylon. A dreadlock, Congo, bongo. Hey, children, get your culture. And don't stay there and just
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
For as you rightfully said, the Rastafari, the lifestyle, the religious adherence, its home is Jamaica. It's so funny how our hair policy is backward relative to at least one of our Caribbean neighbors, Trinidad and Tobago. Listen, the first time I did commentary on the secondary schools league in Trinidad and Tobago, the SSL, the equivalent of our Manning and the Costa Cup here, I saw some boys with some hairstyles. I said, what? You want to go to school? So the hair long, plaited, colored, this, that, school boys. But the principle in Trinidad is, I mean, what does the hairstyle have to do with learning?
That's the point. I've never heard a strong argument as to how the hair affects teaching and learning.
And it goes back to those who you can only close your eyes and see white Jesus with straight nose and white man hair and white features. So anything else that is not like that represents being unkempt and undesirable.
Yeah.
So it's just the ideas that we've built that have been burned into our consciousness. You know, you can only be handsome if your nose straight and if your lips thin and if your eyes small and if your head shape a certain way. Otherwise, you're ugly because you know. So broad nose and your head bad.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I'll answer somebody's question in the chat. Andrea McLean is saying, "Good morning, Tana. Would you go to work in China Bomb Banter Knots?" Of course. It's just that I don't know how to style it.
You're kind of challenging for China.
I wore them when I was younger.
Okay.
Yeah, but at this age now, my mom is not here to do my hair. I don't know if the hairstyle. I cannot do it myself, and that's why I don't wear it because I can't style it.
Funny you
but
say
I
that.
like it.
Funny you say that because last week Thursday I spent some time in a meeting with that bumpy-head girl, Joan Andrea Hutchinson. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, the battle will be hotter, and you won't get no supper. Natty dread now. I dread like bongo.
It's This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
6:48.
At Design Privacy, we value relationships. Join our exclusive open DPO community and interact with privacy professionals. Share ideas, insightful challenges, and build career-boosting connections with expert advice at your fingertips. Get access to specialized tools, exclusive workshops, and case studies. Enjoy unparalleled networking. Join Design Privacy's open DPO community to expand your expertise and excel in your career. Visit opendpocommunity.com today and take your data privacy skills to the next level.
I stay locked into Olympics because, of course, I'm Jamaican.
I tune into the Olympics, but I'm always busy. What have you know when Sharika Jackson beat Shakari?
She's storming to victory here. Watch the clock. This is so fast.
Brother, I have to see every notification for the Olympics. Me, we want to hear every run.
The Jamaican's coming. He's closing. What a performance.
Every jump and every fling.
Oh, wow.
Live. Nothing can miss me.
We're always on the move.
So while I'm driving,
Thompson here from 60 odd, moving away, and she gets the victory.
she's jogging, or at work,
Hurry, the race is about to start.
we can't miss a beat.
Oh, me?
Because we keep it locked.
To the only station for the Paris Olympics.
Nationwide.
90 FM.
Good health starts with proper hydration. Hydrate your body with Hydrate. Hydrate is purified natural water from rocks 110 feet below the ground. You have never tasted water so great, yet so affordable. Yes, taste and experience it for yourself. Water at its best. Hydrate. Available also as purified alkaline water and ultra-purified distilled water. Bottled by LLNSCS Limited, a subsidiary of Max Pharmaceuticals. Call 876-983-6466.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
6:51. Time now to head to the streets to link with Ludlow McLean. Ludlow, what's good? Street Smarts 1.
Morning, George. Morning, Tona.
Hey to you, Ludlow.
Listeners, morning time. It's sunny and light traffic depending on which thoroughfare. And right now, those of you heading towards the 6 miles there, you're going to find it really smooth sailing coming out of Portmore. The same thing coming from Municipal Boulevard. And all of Boulevard, if you're coming from Malines Road, if you're coming off the foot of Radius onto Malines Road, heading to the intersection, pretty good going. However, heading into Half a Tree, it's light, but just remember as you go up to South Oden Avenue, you have it a little built up there, but as you go across to Half a Tree Road, going further down, it's good going. And those of you in the Oxford Road in both directions, heading towards Olop Road or coming towards Half a Tree Road, it's pretty good going. Knutsford Boulevard, for the time being, smooth sailing all the way from Knutsford Boulevard, from the Oxford Road end, going across to Trafalgar. And that's how it is at this time of the morning. I can tell you it's not going to be the same minutes after this. You'll have build-ups, but the traffic has been light at this time of the morning. So it's back to you, George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow McLean there with Street Smarts 1. Up next, the word of the day.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
Your word of the day, spelled Sibylline, spelled Sibylline.
Sibylline. Sibylline. Sibylline.
Sibylline is your word of the day. It's an adjective, so it's a descriptive word. Sibylline, meaning mysterious or cryptic. Sibylline, meaning mysterious or cryptic. And dictionary.com is telling us this morning that Sibylline was first recorded between 1570 and 1580. Between 1570 and 1580. And to use Sibylline in a sentence, his Sibylline smile suggested he knew more than he was letting on. His mysterious smile suggested he knew more than he was letting on. And another sentence for you. The letter contained a Sibylline message, a cryptic message that only she could decipher. Sibylline is your word of the day, spelt again, Sibylline. Mysterious or cryptic is the meaning of the word Sibylline. Up next, your features at the top of the hour, the news.
You know, just before you go to the features, yesterday, I don't remember what I was saying. And I said something about... the dunce YouTubers, them. So the good YouTubers take it up on their head. It's like I should have signposted that the overwhelming majority of them weren't the ones, but you know the isolated. So them may talk people. So from yesterday, people say, "Oh,
don't
God,
make the
George,
cafe YouTuber. You know you're
God,
smart.
I can't believe you're saying that, George. You need to apologize." Listen, but so for what it's worth, listen. If you feel a way about that, something wrong, you know. Something wrong. You make them infect you with the foolishness. But no, man, not you, the sensible one. And ask yourself, am I sensible? And if the answer is yes, I know
it's not you.
Oh boy.
Manganese is a trace mineral that is present in tiny amounts in the body. It is found mostly in bones, the liver, kidneys, and pancreas. Manganese helps the body form connective tissue, bones, blood clotting factors, and sex hormones. In Food for Thought today, the importance of manganese to the body. Manganese also plays a role in fat and carbohydrate metabolism, calcium absorption, and blood sugar regulation. Manganese is also necessary for normal brain and nerve function. Low levels of manganese in the body can contribute to infertility, bone malformation, weakness, and seizures. Chiropractor and health educator, who is an expert in healthy keto and intermittent fasting, Dr. Eric Berg, explains the importance of manganese to the body.
So manganese is a coenzyme. What's a coenzyme? It's a helper compound involved in certain types of proteins. In this case, talking about bone, which by the way is mostly protein, and connective tissue itself. So if you're deficient in manganese, you could have a problem with bone and connective tissue, which equal joints, okay? So you're gonna have knee pain, joint problems, shoulder pain, problems with your ligaments. So let's just say, for example, your mother, when she was carrying you, was deficient in manganese. You could end up with problems with connective tissue issues like flat feet and problems with your skeletal structure. So you could end up with skeletal deformation. You can also have muscle spasm, inflammation, primarily because manganese is involved with very powerful antioxidants in your body. It's part of the defense mechanism to protect you against free radicals. And this is why, if you don't have enough of it, you get a lot of inflammation.
Dr. Berg says pumpkin seeds and kale are good sources of manganese.
Okay, what foods are high in manganese? Clove is number one, pecans, pumpkin seeds, kale, squash, sea kelp are also good sources. This is just another reason why you should have a diet that has a lot of variety and not just eat one thing all day, because you want to get these trace minerals. One really important point about manganese and other trace minerals is that you don't want to consume large amounts of these for long periods of time. If you want to take some, let's say, for example, you have a knee pain or something, you take it, small amounts, in a blend of other trace minerals for short periods of time, okay? Because it can be very toxic if you take too much.
Dr. Eric Berg, chiropractor and health educator who's an expert in healthy keto and intermittent fasting. That's it for Food for Thought. Until next time.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
If you sprinkle when you tinkle, please be neat and wipe the seat. Hi, I'm Tana, and today on Lifestyle Pages, proper bathroom practices in the workplace. So, always remember to flush and check the toilet seat for unwanted stains or substances. Make sure you do not wet the toilet seat. Do not spill water on the floor, as someone might slip and get hurt. Sanitary napkins must be wrapped and disposed of in the designated dustbins. Do not leave the restroom with the tap on. It's important to conserve water. Do not throw unwanted hair or soap wrappers into the wash basin. Remember, you're not the only person using the restroom. There are other employees as well. I'm Tana, and those were your Lifestyle Pages.
Nationwide 90 FM, continuing the tradition of fair, fearless, and factual reporting.
From Negril Point to Morant Bay, a little kindness can go a far way. The time by the Jamaica Information Service is...
News time, 7 o'clock.
If you need to build it, plumb it, weld it, pave it, or power it, National Supply has it. Get the best brands for the job at Jamaica's Industrial Hardware Superstore. Kingston or Bay. The temperature by National Supply is
28 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
The most credible news in the morning. The news at 7 on Nationwide 90 FM.
Coming up in the news this morning, Tuesday, July 16, 2024, murders are down 14% so far this year. Statin reports economic growth of 1.4% for the first quarter of the fiscal year. JACRA estimates damage to coffee and other crops at $266 million. And in international news, ex-NATO chief to lead UK defense review, the ex-NATO chief to lead UK defense review says China is among deadly challenges.
News at 7 is brought to you by Fosrich, your electrical, lighting, solar, and LED people.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Jamaica's homicide rate is continuing its downward trend. The latest statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force show that murders are down 14% so far this year. According to the JCF, 626 people were killed between January 1 and July 13 this year. That's 103 fewer than the corresponding period last year. Roby and Williams reports.
St. James continues to record the most murders in any police division, with 78 homicides as at July 13. But that figure is still 29 fewer than the 107 murders recorded in the division during the corresponding period in 2023. St. James is followed by Westmoreland, which had 59 murders. The St. Andrews South Division recorded 16 fewer murders for the period, with 52 homicides. In St. Catherine North and South, both divisions had 46 people killed. Murders have increased in Trelawney, St. Elizabeth, East Kingston, St. Andrew Central, and St. Andrew North when compared to 2023. On the other hand, Portland continues to record the least number of murders, with 6. Meanwhile, shootings have declined by 1%, coming in at 565 as at July 13. That's 7 fewer incidents than the number recorded for the corresponding period last year. Other major crimes such as rapes, robberies, and break-ins continue to decline. Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
The Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin says the Jamaican economy grew by 1.4% in the first quarter of this fiscal year. The information is contained in the Institute's quarterly review of the country's gross domestic product. We have more in this report. Statin says the goods-producing industries grew by 1.9%, while the services industries grew by 1.3%. Statin says growth in the goods-producing industries was driven mainly by increased output in agriculture, forestry, and fisheries, which recorded growth of 7.4%. Mining and quarrying also boosted the performance of the goods-producing industries, recording robust growth of 18.7%. Manufacturing grew by 0.8%, while construction grew by 3.7%. The increase in the growth in the services industries was driven by improved performance in hotels and restaurants, which grew by 6.9%, transport, storage, and communication, which grew by 3.5%, while finance and insurance services saw growth of 2.2%. Growth in the services industries was also driven by a 2.6% increase in the category Other Services, a 6.5% growth in electricity and water supply, and a 0.3% growth in real estate, renting, and business activities. Wholesale and retail, repairs, installation of machinery and equipment fell by 2.2%, while the producers of government services industries fell by 0.5%. Meanwhile, Statin says overall, the economy recorded growth of 0.3% in the first quarter of 2024 when compared to the fourth quarter of 2023. It says the Jamaican economy grew by 1.9% for the 2023-24 fiscal year when compared to the 2022-23 fiscal year. George Davis for Nationwide News. Thank you, George. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Leighton Johnson, says the union has retained the services of an attorney in a lawsuit that aims to nullify its current 3-year wage agreement with the government. The lawsuit was filed in the Supreme Court last Wednesday by the immediate past president of the JTA, LaSonia Harrison. Mr. Johnson declined to comment further on the matter.
Of course, we are aware of the actions that have been filed against us. We have since retained counsel, and they are in the process of reviewing the situation. Until then, I'm not able to speak on it.
Leighton Johnson, the president of the JTA, the claimant in the lawsuit, Ms. Harrison, contends that the virtual special delegates vote held in March last year to accept the wage offer presented by the Ministry of Finance was in breach of the JTA's constitution. According to the lawsuit, the JTA's constitution states that voting must be carried out by the Assembly of Delegates at a physical location and not virtually. Despite being the chairman of the virtual meeting at the time in her capacity as head of the JTA, Ms. Harrison contends that the acceptance of the salary package is void on the basis that the JTA was not properly constituted in carrying out the vote. 80% of the delegates voted to accept the government's offer of a 20% minimum wage increase, which became effective on April 1, 2022. Ms. Harrison is represented by the law firm Hugh Wildman and Company. The Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA, says there's an estimated $266 million worth of damage to several crops in the agriculture industry. JACRA says this is based on its preliminary assessment of the destruction to farms following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Dana Davey has our story.
JACRA says Hurricane Beryl left coffee, pimento, cocoa, nutmeg, turmeric, and ginger crops damaged across several parishes. It estimates that the widespread damage will result in $266,500,000 in losses for farmers. JACRA provided a detailed assessment of the damage caused by Hurricane Beryl to each crop. For coffee, JACRA says 60% of farms and farming infrastructure were damaged across every parish except Kingston and St. Andrew. Still, it notes that only 10% of the coffee industry was impacted by the storm, as the actual berry loss was minimal. The coffee industry was expected to yield around 250,000 boxes for the 2024 to 2025 crop year. Jackra says that 10% or 25,000 boxes of coffee beans represent a $200 million drop in revenue. For pimento, 50% of farms in St. Thomas, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and St. Anne were damaged. Several pimento trees were broken or toppled over. Jackra says the pimento crop year was expected to yield around 200,000 kilograms. However, it says the damage caused by beryl has resulted in a potential revenue loss of $22 million. The authority says the 2024 to 2025 cocoa crop year was expected to yield around 10,000 boxes. But Jackra says with 40% of cocoa farms in St. Thomas and St. Mary damaged by Hurricane Beryl, farmers could potentially see a loss of $3.5 million. About 20% of turmeric and ginger farms were impacted by beryl, but farmers of the crops will still feel it in their pockets. Jackra estimates that the storm has left them with $40 million in the hole. According to Jackra, the crop with the least amount of potential revenue loss is nutmeg. Only $1 million in losses were recorded on farms in Portland and St. Mary. Jackra is recommending that help be given to farmers by first clearing blocked roads in the Blue Mountains. The authority is also calling for more fertilizer to assist with crop rebound and chemicals to control coffee leaf rust. Jackra says distribution is also needed for more seeds for the affected crops. Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Dana. The Ministry of Education says over $200 million will be disbursed across its 7 regions to address urgent repairs to schools damaged by Hurricane Beryl. In an update on Monday, the ministry said 212 schools suffered damage during the hurricane. It says the affected schools have been categorized into priority levels to streamline and accelerate the repair process. According to the ministry, 64 schools are identified as being severely damaged. It says these schools will need immediate attention and will be assigned to contractors under an emergency contract procurement strategy. The Education Ministry added that 58 schools are moderately impacted while 91 received minor damage. The ministry noted that major, minor and cleanup works are set for the week of July 19 using the emergency procurement process. It also says $210 million have been approved for the ministry's 7 regions. The Energy Minister Darrell Vaz says areas worst affected by the passage of Hurricane Beryl should have power restored by August 5 or sooner. He was speaking on Monday evening on Nationwide at 5. Mahira Stewart has that story.
The Energy Minister had requested that Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, provide him with an electricity restoration schedule and an effective communications plan on Monday. Minister Vaz says according to the information JPS provided, over 55,000 JPS customers are still without electricity.
So I got a report, or a detailed report, obviously, which was for today. As it stands now, including the hardest hit areas, as of this morning, 55,400 JPS customers awaiting restoration. That's right across the island, including the hardest hit areas.
Minister Vaz notes that more than 26,000 of the 55,000 affected JPS customers are in St. Elizabeth. The parish was one of the worst affected by Hurricane Beryl. Mr. Vaz says St. Elizabeth residents still without power should expect restoration by August 5.
26,000 cliff out of the 55,000.
Are in St. Elizabeth?
Already, yeah.
Okay.
That belt.
So you have another 29,000 outside of St. Elizabeth without power. Right. And what is the timeline are they giving you now that they're working with?
The timeline for the badly affected areas, the rollout for that is latest August 5th.
Minister Vaz has acknowledged the frustration of Jamaicans who are still without electricity since Beryl's passing. He says the lack of electricity has also hampered the restoration of other utilities, such as water and the telecommunications network. Mr. Vaz has provided updates on the restoration of services to customers of Flow and Digicel, as well as the National Water Commission.
I'm seeing that only 52% of the NWC critical pumps are back up. Flow is at 49% restoration from 658 sites. They now have 324 backup. In terms of Digicel, who has 96 sites, they have 63%. They have 60 sites that are backup.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Health officials have condemned more than 15,000 pounds of food from hundreds of food establishments across the country since the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Director of Environmental Health in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Michael Williams, made the revelation on Nationwide at 5 on Monday evening.
On top of the 3,000 establishments that we have visited, we have closed close to 500 food establishments in the immediate aftermath of Beryl. And a lot of these establishments were closed because they were out of power supply and out of drinking water, potable water. And of such, these two situations would compromise food safety, because now we're talking about spoilage, we're talking about lack of potable water for cleaning and sanitization within the restaurants, the food shops. And so we condemned over 15,000 pounds of food. And the work continues.
Mr. Williams notes that the majority of the food condemned came from establishments along the south coast.
We observe that along the north coast, a lot of their food establishments had the privilege of having generators. It wasn't so in other locales. And so there was a lot of condemnation, and these foods had to be condemned and were dumped. A lot of the food shop owners, the restaurateurs, a lot of them were very cooperative and closed without any coercion. Good. And this we respected. But there are others out there who would have passed on the unsafe food to the consuming public.
Michael Williams, Director of Environmental Health in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Former NATO leader George Robertson will lead a review of Britain's military strategy to counter what he calls the deadly quartet of China, Iran, Russia, and North Korea. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced the strategic defense review on Tuesday as one of his first major acts after taking office on July 5. Starmer, who leads a centre-left Labour Party government, has promised to end the shrinking of the UK's military seen during 14 years of Conservative Party rule. Starmer also says he'll increase defence spending to 2.5% of GDP from its current level of about 2.3%, but has not set a deadline. He says spending would be responsibly increased to bolster Britain's hollowed-out armed forces. The Ministry of Defence says the review would aim to strengthen UK homeland security, bolster Ukraine in its fight against Russia, and modernise and maintain Britain's nuclear arsenal. That's the news.
News at 7 was brought to you by Fosrich, your electrical, lighting, solar, and LED people.
Sign up for the JN Money Card. It's safe, convenient, and free. The time by JN Money is
7:15.
The best Burger King with the best tasting burger under the sun. You deserve the best. You are number one. Best. Flame grilling, juicy whopper, cause you deserve it. Yeah, next level, awesome. That's how we serve it. Mama menu done your way. You got the taste rules every day. Flame grilled goodness, you deserve it. Great taste, well done. More flavor, fresh Burger King, best tasting burger under the sun.
At Design Privacy, we value relationships. Join our exclusive open DPO community and interact with privacy professionals. Share ideas, insightful challenges, and build career-boosting connections with expert advice at your fingertips. Get access to specialized tools, exclusive workshops, and case studies. Enjoy unparalleled networking. Join Design Privacy's open DPO community to expand your expertise and excel in your career. Visit opendpocommunity.com today and take your data privacy skills to the next level.
I stay locked into Olympics because, of course, I'm Jamaican.
I tune into the Olympics, but I'm always busy. What have to know when Sharika Jackson beat Shakari?
She's storming to victory here. Watch the clock. This is so fast.
Brother, I have to see every notification for the Olympics. Me, We want to hear every run.
The Jamaican's coming. He's closing. What a performance.
Every jump and every fling.
Oh, wow.
Live. Nothing can miss me.
We're always on the move.
So while I'm driving,
Thompson here from 60 odd, moving away, and she gets the victory.
she's jogging, or at work,
Hurry, the race is about to start.
we can't miss a beat.
Oh, me?
Because we keep it locked.
To the only station for the Paris Olympics.
Nationwide.
Nationwide.
90 FM.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute is brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
Fantastic advert for Nationwide's coverage of the Paris Olympics. Ludlow McLean needs no advertisement. He is a known quantity. Ludlow, what's happening on the streets?
Morning again, George. Listeners, motoring public health visitors, morning. Those who are here and those who have left. I wanted to mention this morning about that light, that traffic signal by intersection of Upper Waterloo and Shortwood. That was out last night. I'm not so sure if it is. It's working now. And it's a similar thing on Shortwood and Grand Spain. Those lights were out up to last night. So, and I am pleased to note that Lady Musgrave and Old Road is now working. In the meantime, those areas are flowing with traffic, no delays. If you're along Old Road right now, if you're going on to Arthur Wynn, coming from the top of Mountain View, or if you're coming from down the bottom, everything is moving smoothly in that direction. Going across to Seaview Avenue, then on to Lady Musgrave, you also notice good vehicular movement. The traffic has built up on the other side, the western side, coming east along the Mandela, coming towards the boulevard, but still, steady all the way towards the intersection of Mullines and Washington Boulevard. And from there, going towards Dunrobin, you'll notice a little build-up. You'll see build-ups at the intersection, and that is inevitable. The one I'm worried about is when the lights are not working. Nobody has the right of way, and you know what can happen, confusion and all of these things. It's our second report for the morning, and as usual, look out for those emerging potholes and the gravel and all of that on our road. So it means that you have to check your speed and be more alert. All right, as usual, at Street Smart, your safety is all concerned. George.
Thank you, Ludlow. Ludlow McLean there with Street Smarts 2. Up next, the front page.
Street Smart and the JUTC Morning Commute was brought to you by JUTC, your route to excellence.
Front page is brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business. For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. We're now tuned in to our discussion segment, the front page.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, as I said, Saeed bring enough things from foreign?
Except, well,
No.
He did message me.
Yeah, you weren't here, so you couldn't carry your things then. But
no, man, he said to me that he wasn't able to find one particular thing, so I don't know what else I'm having a goodie bag.
Did him never go Tiffany's?
Tiffany's.
Or what the place name?
We never go so high.
Every kiss begins with K.
Yeah. I didn't go so high, George. I did not. But after Nationwide this morning and the Consumer Hour, I shall find Saeed.
Listeners, Tana sent Saeed to buy. You didn't send him to buy emeralds from Geraldine's, did you? Come now,
No.
Tana. Come now. Get the front page on the way, please.
The Jamaica Association of Public Health Inspectors says it has ramped up efforts to prevent an increase in mosquito breeding sites across the island. This follows the passage of Hurricane Beryl over a week ago. The president of the association, Michael Miles, spoke with Nationwide News Monday afternoon. Dana Davey reports.
Following the passage of Hurricane Beryl, the Health and Wellness Ministry, along with public health inspectors, warned Jamaicans to expect an increase in the breeding of mosquitoes. They note that the public should be particularly wary of the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which carries the dengue virus. According to the ministry's last dengue update in April, the country recorded more than 11,000 cases island-wide. That figure is expected to rise as the rainy season progresses. Mr. Miles explained that waterlogged areas across the island are providing added breeding sites for mosquitoes.
After the onset of Hurricane Beryl, what we have realized is that we have a lot of water on the ground, a lot of persons are displaced, a lot of debris, a lot of solid waste. And with the rainfall and the displacement, we realize that this have increased the mosquito population in these parishes and across the island. And this is what is happening now. We realize that we have a lot of water ponding in the areas, in the drains, in the gullies. And so we have the Culex mosquito breathing heavily, which breathe in the drain. So these mosquitoes are fierce biters. And then we have the Aedes aegypti and the Aedes albopictus, increasing the possibility of vector-borne disease such as the dengue fever.
There's been a raft of complaints to Nationwide News about a surge in mosquitoes across the country since the passage of the storm. Members of the public have been advised to take action in their homes to reduce contact with mosquitoes, which can breed in any contained environment which holds water. However, the Jaffe president says health inspectors have encountered resistance to their pleas.
Our activities have been heightened to try and be proactive, especially in the heavy hit areas of the southern area. We would have conducted a joint intervention where all vector control workers and other workers went into each affected area doing education, a search and destroy. And in the searching and destroying, we realized that one of the challenges is that persons are not complying with the messages. We are talking, but with the level of breeding that we are seeing, we realize that householders are not responding positively to the messages.
He added that fogging activities are also being done during peak breeding hours.
What we have to be doing too is to increase adulticidal activities in the morning, because along the coastal areas, especially, it's windy, and so it's difficult for the fogging to work. It will just be blown away in the wind and not be effective. So presently, we are doing morning fogging at dusk and dawn, because these are the peak feeding hours of the mosquitoes, between the hours of 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning, and between the hours of 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the evening.
Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
And for more on the Health Ministry's plan to address the increase in mosquito breeding sites island-wide, we're being joined by medical entomologist in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Shireen Huntley-Jones. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Sana. Good morning to your listeners.
Thank you so much for joining me, joining us here on Nationwide this morning. My co-host is George. Mrs. Huntley-Jones, if you could just paint a picture for us, based on the reports that the Ministry of Health is getting, what's the situation on the ground in relation to mosquitoes since the passage of Hurricane Beryl?
Okay. With the passage of an event such as a hurricane, one expects to see an increase in the mosquito population. I want to start by saying that in Jamaica we have 74 species of mosquitoes that breed in different breeding sites and occupy different ecological spaces. with the passage of a hurricane that would have affected a vast area, all parishes, all communities, we are now seeing an increase in the population of all our species of mosquitoes.
All 74.
All 74. Wow. We are in particular seeing an increase in the ones that one, breathe in groundwater. For example, I'm going to say the name, but don't be caught up in it. We have a species of mosquito called Celebratory. Ciliata is our largest nuisance mosquito. It tends to breathe in groundwater that is dirty. And so once you would have had flooding in any area and that water sits for over 7 days, we're going to see a significant increase in that species of mosquito. Another mosquito that I hear complaints about, and we expected to have increased, was a set of mosquitoes called Tenorhynchus and solicitans, what we call as salt marsh mosquitoes. These mosquitoes tend to lay their eggs on soil, and those eggs would accumulate over long periods of time until their eggs become flooded. So what happens after an episode of flooding is that all those eggs now would have been immersed at one time, and so you get a significant increase. And these mosquitoes, the Ocerathasus, Tenorhynchus, and solicitans, are the ones I find that persons are most complaining about at this time. These are the large black mosquitoes that tend to bite around the face and just anywhere on the body, and they latch on. Mm-hmm. I've heard persons say to me that, there's these mosquitoes, when they latch on, a simple shake of the hand, they do not detach. So what we're seeing after the passage of the hurricane is just a significant increase in quite a number of our species of mosquito. And also, we will see an increase in the Aedes aegypti mosquito, that's now our vector mosquito. You can appreciate, having had the rain, all our containers around the homes that would have been treated by the Ministry of Health team over the last couple of months in response to the dengue outbreak. All of those now have been washed out, so all our chemicals have been washed out of those containers, and they have filled up and are now becoming breeding sites again for the Aedes aegypti mosquito.
Mrs. Huntley-Jones, the Ministry of Health has put a lot of emphasis on dengue, but should we also be concerned about chickpea or Zika?
Oh, excellent question. As you know, the Aedes aegypti is the mosquito that transmits all those arboviruses, chikungunya and Zika, and both those diseases are endemic along with dengue, and we continue to monitor those numbers. And so we have not seen an increase in those numbers, but we could see an increase in any of the arboviruses. But we have not seen any significant increase over the last couple of months with the chickpea and Zika, but we continue to monitor.
Mm-hmm. And since you said you haven't seen an increase in those numbers over the past month, after the break, we'll ask you as well if since Hurricane Beryl, what are the numbers in relation to people infected with dengue, for example, if those numbers are indeed available. But we take that after the break. We're speaking with Shireen Huntley-Jones. She is the medical entomologist in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, talking to us about the Health Ministry's plan to address the increase in mosquito breeding sites island-wide following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Take a break and come back with more.
Give up every illegal gun. Call the police at 119 or Crime Stop at 311. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
7:32.
This summer, transform your summer body with Express Fitness Gym. For just $9,500 on AutoPay, you'll get access to all our locations 24/7. Enjoy free classes, fully air-conditioned facilities, showers, and changing rooms. Plus, our certified trainers are here to help you reach your goals. Visit Express Fitness Gym today. Your goal is our mission. Find a location near you or sign up now at pay.expressfitnessja.com.
The best Burger King with the best tasting burger under the sun. You deserve the best. You are number one. Best. Flame grilling, juicy whopper, cause you deserve it. Yeah, next level, awesome. That's how we serve it. Mama menu done your way. You got the taste rules every day. Flame grilled goodness, you deserve it. Great taste, well done. More flavor, fresh Burger King, best tasting burger under the sun.
Jamaica, it's here again. Phosphorage Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. Come get your wires, breakers, solar flood lamps, LED bulbs, ceiling fans, and so much more. Call 876-937-5099 or visit us in Kingston, Mandeville, Draxall, and Montego Bay. Up to 60% off this summer. Get your solar panels starting from $17,600. Come shop, come save at Phosphorage Super Summer Sale, July 1 to August 31. See you there at Phosphorage. Open Sundays. Welcome back to Nationwide this morning. You're tuned in to our discussion segment, The Front Page, having a conversation about the Minister of Health and Wellness's plans on vector control amidst increase in mosquito population. Speaking with medical entomologist and the Minister of Health and Wellness, Shireen Huntley-Jones. Mrs. Jones, before the break, wanted to ask about if the Ministry of Health, the health regions are seeing any cases of dengue presented or any suspected cases to our hospitals.
Right. So
since Beryl.
Well, since Beryl. But let me take you back a little bit before Beryl. So the country, we had declared a dengue outbreak since last September, and that outbreak had continued into 2024. And in fact, pre-Beryl, we were still in what we call a dengue outbreak, although our numbers had come down significantly. So at the end of June, we had confirmed 41 cases of dengue. We say that we're still in an outbreak because even though it was 41 and it's very low, it was still above what we call our epidemic threshold, just above it, pre-Beryl. So post-Beryl.
And just before you get to post-Beryl, and what's the threshold number?
The threshold number for June is 48. So that's why I say it's just above it. It's just on there. And while we say we're still above, we tend to still get dates of onset for a month, even in the following month.
Hold on, just seeking clarification. The number up to the end of June, number of confirmed dengue cases in Jamaica was what, 41 or 48?
So it was 41. The epidemic threshold is 48.
Okay, so we were just below. Okay.
Right. But while we say that we're still in the epidemic, we have two indicators that we use to declare an outbreak over. One, we have to have 3 months where the dengue numbers are below the epidemic threshold for those 3 months. So we have not had that yet, but we were coming down very nicely. Mm-hmm. Also, even though we had a 41 at the end of June, we tend to still get data for 1 month in the months following. And so we would not have said, even though the 41 was below the 48, which is the epidemic threshold, we would not be able to say that we have gone below until we have gotten all the data for the month of June.
Right, and post-Beryl?
So post-Beryl, we continue to monitor, and we have not seen a spike in the dengue numbers. So as of July 2nd, which is the last information that I have, we had for July approximately 5 positive dengue cases, and we are now continuing to monitor post-Beryl. So we have not seen a spike in our dengue numbers. We have not seen an increase in hospitalization due to dengue since the 2 weeks post-Beryl.
So for those residents in various communities now who are meeting hell with the mosquitoes daily and nightly, what's the plan for providing relief to them?
All right, so I want to start at a particular point of personal responsibility. We have to appreciate that having had the passage of the hurricane, quite a number of communities are affected. And so the Ministry of Health team have ramped up our intervention. We are plugging in the mornings, in the evenings. We have hired additional staff, and we are fully out. However, I must emphasize that the first was a call for basic the situation. It's really personal responsibility. I heard my colleague in your news clip speaking of the apathy. I'm not sure what to call it, just the lack of action by our citizens in addressing the breeding of mosquitoes in and around their own spaces, the lack of responsibility in the use of repellents, and just taking actions that can be taken at the household level that can reduce the impact of mosquito bites. And so what we want to start with, that there must be a sense of responsibility, that I have to take care of my own space. I have to ensure that I am not breeding mosquitoes in and around my home, containers and everything around me. It's not breeding. If I have cooling of water, so that's where I want to start, that personal responsibility. I want to also encourage persons to use repellents. There are effective repellents on the market, and once applied properly, they can provide some amount of relief. There are aerosols, commercially available aerosols on the market that persons can use safely in their home as per the instructions on the cans, and that helps significantly. So persons now have got to understand that I have to protect myself from mosquitoes. The ministry, however, does understand that it is overwhelming, and so we have implemented our full strategy. What is our full strategy? So I mentioned one before. We have increased our fogging to morning and evening, and this has significant impact because different mosquitoes, their peak feeding time varies, and so we're trying to get as much species across their activity time as much as possible. Also, we will be engaging the services of pest control operators that have the capacity to do fogging, to assist us in the fogging activity. You can, as I said, it's a lot of communities that's crying out, and so it is overwhelming our capacity, and so we are engaging the services of private pest control operators to assist the Ministry of Health. We at the time of burial, we did have some temporary workers engaged because of the dengue outbreak, and we're increasing this number to 1,000 to assist in the going about searching for breeding sites and treating those breeding sites. And we continue our public education, of course, to assist, to give persons the relevant information. But as my colleague has said, it's just disheartening that as we move about, that person that's just sitting and saying, when is the government coming? And really little action is being taken by the
Practical question, Shireen Hunter-Jones. The sight of, rather comforting sight, I must say, of a pickup truck with two men inside or two people inside and a dispenser in the back chugging out the mist. How many of those does the ministry have at its disposal? How many more you need to be able to provide more communities with that kind of facility, if you can call it that?
All right, but I suspect you're talking about our handheld thermal foggers.
That same one.
Right, so we have approximately 320 across the system. We have 50 new ones in storage that we are currently distributing as some go down. We are preparing to purchase an additional 50 machines just to support what is on the field, because it's going to be a lot of fogging, and some of the machines will go down because of the burden that's on the machine. And so we do have enough in storage, and we do have enough equipment already in the field that they're using. But we are also purposing to replace that which we're using. Because remember, we are just at the start of the hurricane season.
Yes.
And so we're using up, so we're going to be replacing our stuff so that we are always in a constant preparation. We are constantly prepared to respond to any future.
Another comforting sound is the plane, the flyover, because you cover a larger area, obviously, with the plane doing the fogging. You have that facility this time?
We are not currently planning to do aerial spraying. We have attempted that in the past, and we have analyzed the impact of that. Given where our mosquito populations are and the severity of the distribution of the population, when we do flyovers, because of our buildings and fencings and so forth, it doesn't impinge our mosquitoes as much as when you do a flyover over a large, vast plants where there are no buildings, just vegetation. We do not have that kind of vast vegetative landscape that's giving us problems. Where we're finding the problem is in our built-up area, and the flyover for insect for mosquito control in that kind of setting is very ineffective. So no, not at this time.
There are two things to consider. You see, I understand you being frustrated about the fact that Jamaicans don't seem to be getting the message to keep the surroundings clean and clear of vessels that the water can gather in, and of course provide a natural breeding site. But it's the same way we are frustrated as journalists, when from I was a little boy till now, people have been told to turn off the radio when you call into a radio station. And you still have to tell people that same way it's going to be a constant thing. That's one. The other thing is, do you think that the communication to the public about the threat that mosquitoes pose has perhaps been oversimplified, just to ensure that the message carries across all demographics and all, educational levels then? Because I must confess, it's the first I've been hearing that we have 74 different kind of mosquitoes in Jamaica. And I've been listening to comments from professionals like yourself for decades. I've never heard before, that there are 74. Of course, you hear about the Aedes aegypti, and you know that there are others because mosquito and mosquito look different. But I never knew that. And I'm wondering if, in trying to distill the message and ensure that as many people as possible understand the basics, the ministry has parsed on some of the details, and now, you're dropping this heavy one on us this morning.
It's just great. A discussion yesterday with my senior director, and we concluded this very same thing, that maybe we have to look at how we're communicating about mosquito control, the impact and the impact of different actions on controlling the mosquitoes. For example, the ministry, when we have such an event, the ministry will come out and say, we're increasing our fogging, and we're putting resources behind the situation. And so there is an expectation of the public, when there's mosquito, it's the ministry that's going to respond. And they're looking for that fogging. But can I tell you a little thing about fogging? And I hear that complaint coming out. Fogging, especially for the Aedes aegypti mosquito, if those windows and doors are not open and that fog is drifting in the home, we are not killing that mosquito. And what it is that most persons do when we're fogging?
They close up those windows and doors.
Right. And so we are fogging, and they're protecting the mosquitoes. Also, sometimes when we're fogging, depending on the amount of mosquitoes, as we're moving from one end to the next, those mosquitoes are moving and going inside. So I've now heard complaints about ministry fogging, and they're just running the mosquito them inside. And it's just because of the chemical that we use and the methodology that we're using. And so we have concluded that we have not, I think, allowed persons to fully appreciate what how the different strategies work and how impactful they can be. And I'm telling you, the most impactful strategy is really persons taking
Personal responsibility.
Personal
But also what you've said this morning, it would appear as if a feeding time for some of the many different kinds of mosquitoes, they would vary somewhat, because we know some broad feeding times, as you said, 6 to 8 a.m. and then up to 8 p.m. in the evening, 6 to 8 p.m. or something like that. But with 74 different kinds of mosquitoes, I mean, some would feed outside of those windows. So you outside after 9, after 10. I was outside after 9 reading something last night. A mosquito nearly killed me. You understand?
So you're likely to get bitten at any time of the day.
Right,
Mrs. Huntley Jones.
When all the populations are up. But there really is that most persons, if you look at the time that they come up, it's about, not the morning set, no, the evening set. They come up at about that gray period. Now it's about 6:30, and it goes on. They just see that a big increase in the biting and the mosquitoes swarming around, and then it just dips at about 8 p.m. So a lot of them come out at that time and feed. They may have some lingering into the night, and anopheles tend to back a little bit later down in the night. And it really depends on where you are. But a majority of the species come out at that, dusk to about early evening, 8 p.m.
Finally, Mrs. Huntley Jones, as we're out of time, you said that the Ministry of Health would be ramping up its temporary workers number to about 1,000. Could you tell us how many you have now, and when they go out, what will they be doing, and where are they heading?
Right. So we have about 600 now. So in very, very short order, we're taking that to the 1,000. And they will be starting. So remember now, Aedes aegypti is our primary focus, because we do not want to see a significant spike in dengue. And we are getting back into the high dengue transmission period. And so their primary focus are going to be in our high-risk areas that we're likely to see an increase in the Aedes aegypti population. And they will be going out, identifying breeding sites, and applying the treatment to those areas. So they're focusing in our high-risk areas for Aedes aegypti primarily, and they will be treating and destroying breeding sites. So that will be their primary focus. They will also be assisting secondarily with the oiling of groundwater that they might find when they do go into the community, and the distribution of educational materials.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for your time this morning, Shireen Huntley Jones. She is the medical entomologist there in the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Gonna take a break and come back with more.
Listen up, motorists. Speeding burns more gas. So slow down. The life you save may be your own, and also that of your loved ones. Slow down. Save lives and money. The time by the Insurance Association of Jamaica is
7:50.
At Hawkeye, our mission is to deliver cutting-edge security solutions to help you keep track of the things you value most.
The temperature by Hawkeye is
29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay.
When last you get good bun, you don't know good bun until you have a mother's bakery bun. From you pull open the wrapper and it's soft so till. A sub bun for nice. And from when you take the first bite, love it so till. A sub bun for nice. Beg your piece.
Get your own mother's bakery bun.
I will buy one off you.
Yes, but I will charge a convenience fee.
I will take one. Me too.
Mother's Bakery Buns. A sub bun for nice. Try them today.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
I pursue opportunities.
I prepare for opportunities.
I plan for opportunities.
With Sagicor e-Invest, you can prepare, plan for, and pursue IPO opportunities.
Browse IPOs, review IPO details and prospectuses. Select and apply for a featured IPO.
I-P-O
with Sagicor e-Invest. Think wealth. Visit sagicor.com.
Thought I tell you I was assaulted at sting point by mosquitoes or at gunpoint. Mosquitoes held me up and robbed me at Caymanas Park already, you know.
Oh
yeah,
my
man, it's
goodness.
wicked, man.
When the big black ones land on you, you know, they feel heavy.
It's like a swarm of bees.
Yes.
So those all of us who go to Caymanas Park early, so you watch horses exercise and you might record a feature. There's a feature that Lance Whitaker does for Sports Packs on a Thursday called At the Track. So when he's off, I'm stepping in and let me tell you, man, the mosquitoes at Caymanas Park are unlike anything. And Portmore in general, but Caymanas Park specifically, those mosquitoes, they are persons of interest. Yeah, man. No, man.
They should be upgraded to be suspects.
Suspects.
But turning our attention to our other scheduled segment, the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA, says there's an estimated $266 million worth of damage to several crops within the agriculture industry. JACRA says this is based on its preliminary assessment of the destruction to farms following the passage of Hurricane Beryl. According to JACRA, Hurricane Beryl left coffee, pimento, cocoa, nutmeg, turmeric, and ginger crops damaged across several parishes. For more on this, we're being joined by the Acting Director General of the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA, Wayne Hunter. Good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide this morning. Talk to us, Wayne, about the farmers. How are they faring, those who farm these spices?
Yeah, well, the pleasure's mine. Our farmers are at this time upbeat. There is no sign of, cowering under the aftermath of Beryl, but it's more like to pick up the pieces and to move forward. I'm encouraged by their resilience and how proactive or commodity farmers are.
Mm-hmm. And for them to get back into production, for those who were worst affected, what's the timeline they're telling you, and what do they really need?
I can hardly hear you, but Go
ahead, Wayne.
Okay, great. Now I'm saying that as it relates to the timeline for farmers to get back in field, some aspect of it have already started, where farmers have taken steps in their own to utilize the power saws and stuff to cut roadways and some fallen trees, clean up some of the roads, etc., to go back in the farms. Some of that have already started. On our side, what we are doing from this side of the fence is that some of our field advisory officers are assisting farmers to transport their commodities to the nearest point for sale, etc. As it relates to seedlings and fertilizer, chemicals, etc., some of that we have assessed, and where we have assessed, we'll be making distribution in the coming week. So basically, that's where we are at this time, having completed the assessment.
Mm-hmm. And we got a breakdown of cost, but overall, what sort of price tag was JACRA able to come up with based on your prelim assessment of the damage?
Well, the preliminary estimate rounds out to be approximately 260 million. It is not, and let me just use this opportunity to, invite the wider public that although we've seen Beryl, but the agriculture the commodities that JACRA has responsibilities for were in good standing. And I must reiterate that. And at this point in time, at this particular time, there is no lack of demand for any of the commodities locally. So I just want to be able to put that information out there. It's a 260 million, but it should be taken in context. For example, coffee will carry the largest part, and that is an estimated 10%. That runs out to be approximately 200 million, and we're still assessing that. We're still assessing areas, for example, of those that was impacted. St. Thomas, Hanover, Westmoreland, Clarendon, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Trelawney region, St. Mary, St. Anne, and, of course, St. Catherine. In those communities, we would see a lot of toppled trees and flooded trees as well. But the berries on the tree, it's important to know that the berries are still on the tree, and what we are estimated to lose at this particular time in revenue is approximately $200 million. Pimento is something else. Pimento is something where we anticipate a loss, again, of $22 million. Pimento is a different type of crop. Although we estimate a 50% damage in pimento, which is because of the toppling of the trees, and pimento is not a tree that can, re-sprout after it's toppled over, like other trees. You have to take that tree, entirely out of commission and put a new tree in the ground. But nevertheless, you have some berries which are not mature, that you can't sell those. Those have to be destroyed. Hence, the loss for pimento is so high at this time, at $22 million, covering St. Thomas, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, as well as St. Anne for that loss.
And when do you, at this time, foresee any significant interruption in supplying the market with coffee, the pimento, cocoa, nutmeg, turmeric, and ginger?
No, not at this time. Not at this time. And the reason for that is we would have already been actively reaping before. So you have some of those that we have reaped before. They're still out there in the processes, plant processing, etc. So you won't see there will be no loss or shortage of the commodities at this time. You won't see it.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying that the farmers, they've already begun to salvage what they can, clear roads, get to their farms as they seek to pick up the pieces and get back to production.
Indeed, they have. We have been out there in St. Thomas. We've been in St. Elizabeth. We've been in Manchester. We've been in parts of Trelawney, for example, Trelawney Central Region, Clarendon as well. So we have seen where the farmers have started doing that, and we have started to assist the farmers again. Our field advisory officers have been using their vehicles to park someplace, walk, assist the farmers getting their things. They took it. They'll take it to another place. They assist the farmers to clean up their farms, etc. That's coming from our field advisory officers. So they have already started. What we need to do now is to provide some nutrients to assist, for example, that of our turmeric and ginger farmers. Turmeric and ginger, those are planted primarily in the agri-parks. So based on the flood, agri-park, the soil type there is a little different because it's clay, which, the water doesn't run off so easily. So what we need to do now is to ensure that we have some chemicals to ensure, that the nutrients go back into the ground, that by the time comes around to reap turmeric and ginger, which is about November, December, we'll have, a yield and we would not suffer any loss or further loss to what we have already estimated, which is about 5%.
Mr. Hunter, can I thank you for your time this morning. Wayne Hunter, who is the Acting Director General of the Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you.
Gonna take a break for Across Jamaica.
Front Page was brought to you today by ABC Electrical Sales. For a better choice in the electrical business.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
2 minutes after 8.
From the mountainside to seaside, countryside to townside, inside and outside, it's Across Jamaica this morning.
Taking you across Jamaica this Tuesday morning, I'm Tona Thomas. Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, says St. James suffered moderate infrastructural damage as a result of the passage of Hurricane Beryl. He told the monthly meeting of the St. James Municipal Corporation on Thursday that the parish is in good condition compared to other areas. According to Mayor Vernon, there was no flooding in the downtown areas and adjoining divisions. He did reveal, however, that a football field in Maroon Town was flooded and 51 houses were damaged. Mayor Vernon says all 6 areas where landslides occurred have been cleared and the teams are continuing to clear fallen trees. He says 90% of parochial roads had been cleared up to Wednesday, July 10, a week after Hurricane Barry lashed sections of the country. Jamaica AIDS Support for Life has launched a mobile clinic project expected to offer free healthcare services to communities across the island. The project is called One Life, One Health and is being implemented with funds from the United States Agency for International Development, USAID. It was launched in Lodge St. Anne last Friday. The association says the project intends to raise awareness about epidemic-prone diseases and promote positive social norms. It says it is targeting densely populated areas and those with high-risk factors with a focus on improving disease surveillance, healthcare access, and promoting healthy behaviors. JASL says the government is also intended to train non-governmental organization workers who are crucial in bridging the gap between the healthcare system and the people to be served. Individuals seeking to change their names are being reminded that they have a straightforward channel through which to do so, the deed pool. The deed poll. This legal document not only facilitates a change of name, but also provides official recognition and documentation of the alteration. The process, administered by the Registrar General's Department, RGD, can be used to change one's first name or surname, add names, change the entire name, rearrange the current name, or simply change the spelling of one's name. To initiate any of these, applicants over 18 years old can submit a certified copy of their birth certificate and, if applicable, a certified copy of their marriage certificate to the RGD for processing. For minors, the undertaking requires the consent of both parents or legal guardians, following all appropriate legal procedures to amend their vital records. Upon submission of the documents, the individual is required to pay the fees associated with having the deed poll drafted. The RGD says the deed poll must always be used in tandem with one's birth certificate, as the altered name will not replace the one originally registered. For further information on the deed poll process, please visit the RGD website at www.rgd.gov.jm. Or you can call 876-749-0550. That's 876-749-0550. That's it for Across Jamaica.
Success, powered by learning. The temperature, brought to you by Sandals Corporate University. Come grow with us is
29 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, and out west in Montego Bay, 30 degrees Celsius.
Did you know that the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, or BSJ as we are known, has been serving and helping Jamaican businesses to grow for over 54 years, now testing over 57,000 products annually? The BSJ develops and promotes standards for products consumers see and use every day. We stand tall as your quality assurance partner, testing a range of products including foods, construction materials, petroleum products, packaging material, cosmetics, paints, and pharmaceuticals. Did you know that the BSJ has over 20 labs in Kingston that conduct these tests, operating at the highest international standards, giving you the speed to take your products from the lab to market, driving your business growth with 100% confidence? Contact us at 876-618-1534.
You can have it all. Company events, birthday parties, or the wedding of your dreams. It's all possible at Grand Palladium Hotels and Resorts. We have magnificent event rooms and a dedicated team that will make your event the best experience that only Grand Palladium Hotels and Resorts can offer. Contact us at 876-619-0000 or call your favorite travel agency and ask about our promotion designed especially for you.
Quality Talks is brought to you by Bureau of Standards Jamaica. From lab to market.
Welcome back to Nationwide this morning, NTM. It's now time for Quality Talks. So the metrology branch falls under the engineering division at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. That's the division we'll be focusing on, or the branch will be focusing on this morning. And that department consists of 4 metrology laboratories and 2 testing laboratories. The metrology laboratories are mass metrology, flow and volume metrology, force and pressure metrology, and dimensional metrology. The testing laboratories are metallurgy and product testing. And when Hunter comes on, I'm going to ask him if I'm getting these right. So for more on the Metrology and Testing Division of the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, we're being joined by the Director of Metrology and Testing Division at the Bureau of Standards, Hunston Hunter. Good morning to you, Hunston.
Hi, Tona. Good morning, and good morning to your listeners. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Metrology.
Yes, here on Nationwide this morning. And that's the first question I'm going to ask, if you can briefly explain what metrology is, and then the primary role and responsibilities of the Metrology and Testing Division of the BSJ.
All right, thank you. All right, so in simple terms, metrology is the science of measurement. And by that, we mean that, when conducting or carrying out certain measurements, there are a number of factors that can contribute to the accuracy of the measurement that is being carried out. So some factors would include that can affect the measurement is relative humidity, temperature, etc. So it's important for us to identify the sources of uncertainty when we are carrying out those measurements.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the role of the BSJ, so the Bureau of Standards Jamaica is Jamaica's National Metrology Institute. And for that, we are responsible for Jamaica's measurement system, which should be traceable to international accepted standards. So when you talk about the kilogram, which is the unit for mass, it could be that the seconds, which is the unit for time, or Kelvin, the unit for temperature, then these units must be traceable to the international accepted standards that define those units.
So when you come up with these units now, a practical example, as I always ask for example, in your laboratory that deals with mass metrology,
right.
Give us an example of what you're testing in that lab.
All right, so as it relates to mass metrology, so mass has to do with determining the weight of an object. So you use your scales or your balances to determine the mass of that object. So for example, when you go to the supermarket to pick up a pound of potato or yam, then when you put that object on that balance, how do you know that it is actually giving you a pound of yam or a pound of potato? So here at the BSJ, we have the primary mass standards that we will actually place on those scales or balances to ensure that they are giving accurate readings.
And talk to us about the other labs as well, because there are 4 of them. So you just covered mass metrology, but you also have flow and volume. Then there's force and pressure, and then there's dimensional metrology. Talk to us about those.
All right, just a little clarification. So we have 4 metrology labs within the electrical branch and 4 metrology labs within the mechanical branch. So within the electrical branch, we have our temperature lab, we have our AC/DC metrology lab, we have our time and frequency metrology lab, and our energy metrology lab. Within the mechanical branch now, then we have the force and pressure, the mass, dimensional, and flow and volume.
Right.
Right. So as it relates to the flow and volume now, so we provide measurement traceability to the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, which is the NCRA that does the regulatory activities. So they now are responsible for going out, to the petrol stations. So when you purchase a gallon or a liter of gas, again, how do you, that you're paying for volume? You're getting the accurate volume of petrol. So the NCRA will go to the petrol station with our primary standards, which is like a container that gives a specific mark for a gallon or a liter of gas. So they will now dispense the petrol from the dispensing unit to check to see if it's actually reading a liter of petrol. And that's how they do the verification that you're actually getting a liter of gas from those units. Just to say to the listeners that, next time you go to the supermarket or the petrol station, you can check for a BSJ sticker that will be placed on those scales or dispensing units from the petrol station that will actually give some sort of indication to say that, yes, these scales or these dispensing units were actually checked by the NCRA to ensure that they are giving accurate results. So you can look for those BSJ stickers.
So you told us about flow and volume, mass metrology. Just the 2 others in the mechanical laboratories, force and pressure, and dimensional metrology.
Right. So as it relates to the force and pressure metrology, so we provide calibration services, for the construction industry. So oftentimes, when the construction industry is carrying out certain construction developments, the concrete that is poured has to meet a certain strength. And then they use what we call compression testing machines to test the strength of those concrete. And again, our force and pressure lab would go to these facilities to check the machines that are used to determine the strength of those concrete. As it relates to our dimensional lab, then we provide calibration services as it relates to the measurement of length. So we're talking about the meters. So when you talk about the micrometers, the vernier calipers, the tape measures, then we have the capability to check those instruments to ensure that they are giving accurate results.
And if you could just expound some more, Hunston, on how the metrology and testing division supports our local industries and which sectors benefits most from the testing services.
So the construction industry is one that benefits tremendously from the metrology services, as well as the manufacturing, that is the food industry.
Yes.
Because as you know, and then this is where our temperature lab comes into play. So again, for the food industry, when they're baking products, they have to bake at a particular temperature. And this is where now our temperature lab would go in to check that those ovens, walk-in ovens, are giving accurate temperature results. Again, as it relates to, I can give an example in terms of a milk manufacturer who, at a certain temperature, they are required to store their product. And the instrument that they were using was, let's say, giving inaccurate results. And, that particular company ended up losing millions of product, and then they went out of operation. So it's just critical that, you do your checks of the temperature gauge or the temperature measuring devices that you use to store or measure the environment in which your products are being stored.
Yeah. And any example in the construction industry?
All right. So for the construction industry, so we'd have in recent times encounter a situation where, a major hotel was carrying out certain construction, and the material that was being used was in question, and our testing unit, was called in to do an assessment of the material, and we were able to assist in terms of the resumption of that project.
Hunston, is this a routine part of the construction process that the BSJ has to be in on testing whatever construction material is going to be used?
Yes.
Or
So
you wait on somebody to call you in to check something?
No. So there are certain standards in place. We work closely with the NCRA as well as the local authority in terms of maintaining quality assurance for the construction industry. So let's say that premix is going out to pour some concrete. So the NCRA is required to go on site to check and ensure that samples are collected and brought back to the BSJ for us to do some quality assurance checks in terms of the strength of that material that is being poured on the site. So it's a routine thing that is required for this activity to be done.
Yeah. And finally, Hunston, before we let you go, overall, how does the division, in carrying out its testing services, facilitate businesses meeting local and international standards so that they can access markets and be competitive internationally?
Right. So our metrologists and testing services, support industry through quality control, that is one, and this ensures that the product meets specification and standards through precise measurement, thus increasing customer satisfaction. Secondly, we help them to improve their efficiency and, precision measurement improve manufacturing process, thereby reducing waste and increasing productivity. So, if you look at the formula, efficiency generally equal output over input, all right? So, if you can reduce your input to precise measurement, then you can improve your efficiency in that manner. And then we support them through innovation, again, by providing accurate measurement, which plays a critical role in developing new products, right? And fourthly, as it relates to compliance. So meeting regulatory standards through accurate measurement, help business avoid penalties and maintain a good reputation.
Yeah. Hunston Hunter, who is the Director of Metrology and Testing, that division there at the Bureau of Standards, talking to us this morning about what he and his team, what they do there at the Metrology and Testing division, educating us about that division this morning in Quality Talk. Hunston, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Tana.
Gonna take a break. One. You too. Gonna take a break and come back with more.
Quality Talks was brought to you by Bureau of Standards Jamaica. From lab to market.
Crisp and refreshing. Room temperature or chilled. A pure water would drink. The time by Pure Water is
8:21.
Did you know that many of my schoolmates have an unhealthy diet, especially at school? And now 23% of them are overweight and or obese? And so one less sugary drink at my school may mean one friend less,
or two or three,
at risk of cavities or diabetes. And if we're served less foods high in saturated fats, sugar and sodium, it may reduce our risk from obesity, heart disease and high blood pressure.
The solution is simple, right? Act now.
Let's get unhealthy foods and beverages out of our schools.
A message from the Heart Foundation of Jamaica and partners.
I pursue opportunities.
I prepare for opportunities.
I plan for opportunities.
With Sagicor e-Invest, you can prepare, plan for and pursue IPO opportunities. Browse IPOs, review IPO details and prospectuses. Select and apply for a featured IPO. IPO with Sagicor e-Invest. Think wealth. Visit sagicor.com.
Data Protection Matters is brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
Welcome to another episode of Data Protection Matters, powered by Design Privacy here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm your host, Chantal Thompson. We have here with us Chuck Cameron, founder of Design Privacy and a privacy expert. Welcome, Chuck.
Hi, Chantal.
So just to recap, last week we spoke about setting up your DPO office. What does it look like? Who reports to who? This episode will be discussing what your day-to-day activity should look like as a DPO, who you report to, and some of the things that you really need to get done. All right, Chuck?
So what we focused on the last occasion was the initial gaps that need to be closed by the organization, and it being the responsibility of the data protection officer to hold the organization accountable for those promises that it has made in closing those gaps. So that's the first thing. So that's a totally separate project and just one of the activities of the DPO. So on a day-to-day basis, what does it look like? We will still be in the setting up phase, but a lot would have been done before you had the DPO. Some of the things that the DPO wants to be looking at from day one is who are his stakeholders in the organization or within the ecosystem. So you'd have the board as one of the primary stakeholders. You would have IT as one of the primary stakeholders. You would have employees as stakeholders. You would have the external data subjects. You would have the information commissioners. Those persons, for the most part, represent the world or the ecosystem of the DPO, for whom the DPO has some form of responsibility. Having identified all your stakeholders, the DPO then needs to stop and think, what are all the communication or information needs of the various stakeholders? Does the DPO have to be reporting on a monthly basis to the board? What are the information needs of the information commissioner?
So there's no standard within the organization. You have to set your reporting timeline, your reporting format. There's no standard. Or what's the recommended?
Going back to the framework of the legislation, it is a risk-based activity. Okay. So you really have to look at your specific organization. What's the quantity and quality of personal data that you're processing? What is the type of risk that data subjects are exposed to as a result of that processing? That will determine the sort of cadence that is necessary.
Okay.
So having identified, so we would have touched on the board. They may need some type of reports on the status and health of the organization. We have touched on the Office of the Information Commissioner. How are we going to be communicating with our data subjects? More importantly, what do we need to be communicating with data subjects? One of the underlying principles of the Data Protection Act and the whole framework is transparency. So the law has indicated several mechanisms by which the data controller must communicate with its data subjects how they process personal data. One such mechanism are privacy notices. That is where the organization has a duty to tell all of its stakeholders, all of its data subjects, what information we're processing on your behalf. That is often confused or conflated with a privacy policy. A privacy policy, for the most part, just tells the internal stakeholders and your external stakeholders how you treat personal data.
Okay.
In general. And it represents the intention of the board as to what our data processing standard and posture will be. A privacy notice, however, is something very specific that is set out in the legislation. The privacy notice is supposed to tell data subjects exactly what personal data we have for you. It's supposed to tell the data subjects how long we are keeping it, how we seek to protect it, and who we'll be sharing it with. It is something very specific. Dependent on the size of your organization, you will need to be communicating with those stakeholders that I indicated to you. So your employees are one set of stakeholders. How long you keep their information, who you share it with, separate and apart from how long you keep a supplier's information and who you share your supplier's information with. So if we were to think about it and see, when we are trying to discharge our responsibility of being transparent, it would mean that what you communicate to your employees would be different from what you communicate to your suppliers, for example.
Okay.
So transparency and understanding what you need to be communicating across the board with your different stakeholders, critical. Another responsibility of the Office of the DPO is ensuring all your employees know what a breach is, how to identify a breach.
Yes.
And importantly, once you identify a breach, what are you supposed to do having identified a breach? In the setup phase, you ought to have had this policy in place and employees should have been trained. However, it's another thing when you are translating this into the real world. So the data protection officer does want to ensure that all employees actually know what a breach is and what is to be done. So having ongoing sensitizations, having ongoing awareness and training sessions is another part of the daily operations of the DPO. Thirdly, data subject access request. We touched on this some time ago.
We did.
It is a data subject access request is where I or you or any one of our listeners get to exercise their rights over the data controller, where they can knock on the door or send an email and say, tell me what information you have on my behalf. Remember, the underlying core under the Data Protection Act is transparency. So that's that is the first right the data subject has. The DPO is actually responsible for ensuring that once an organization receives a data subject access request, it is fulfilled within the 30 days.
Okay, 30 days.
If the organization does not respond to that data subject access request within 30 days, the data controller is exposed to criminal sanction.
Okay. So we've gotten this question a lot since the Data Protection Act came into effect. I've been getting text messages from a company that I did not give my information to. Can I write them to stop you sending me messages? How does a data subject go about that?
So we are going to be going into data subject rights in further programs, but just send them a letter. You do have that right. Send them a WhatsApp, send them a text. The same way you receive the information, send it back to me and say, stop, I no longer want to receive it.
Okay.
In thinking about all the different responsibilities of the DPO, Chantal, we realize that medium-sized to small organizations, they do not have the bandwidth.
That is true.
To give effect to these responsibilities, either from a resource perspective in terms of our human resource or financial resource. So the team at Design Privacy has put a lot of thought into how can we solve this problem. We have come up with compliance as a service. This is where we will discharge all your responsibilities under the Data Protection Act for a fixed, recurring, small fee. We have the expertise that we have built up over a period of 4 years. We have built out a number of software solutions that no one else has, and we realize let not just our big clients benefit. Let us make all of the medium-sized and smaller clients get the benefit of this. We also realize that we have a DPO community full of trained persons that can support medium-sized to small organizations. And when we put all of these pieces together, we realize that we are best suited to solve this problem for medium to small organizations, where you can actually outsource your compliance requirements, whether or not you need training, whether or not you need a DPO, whether or not you need your DPIA, or everything that falls under the rubric of data protection compliance, we have packaged as compliance as a service that you can access for a small monthly fee.
All right, that brings us to the end of this week's episode on setting up your DPO office. Join us on another episode as we wrap up and go a little bit deeper on what your DPO office should look like, who you report to, and some of the formalities. For more information on how to gather your registration particulars or how Design Privacy can get this done for you, email us at info@designprivacy.io. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at design_privacy and also connect with us on LinkedIn at Design Privacy. Stay informed and stay secure.
Data Protection Matters was brought to you by Design Privacy. We help you comply and build trust.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come with me, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Nationwide 90 FM is at it again. Team Revolution will clear every hurdle and sprint to the finish line as we cover the games of the 33rd Olympiad from Paris, the city of love.
3 meters clear, 5 meters clear, and away he goes. He continues on his way towards another gold medal. 5 gold medals, 5 world records.
Nationwide's coverage is powered by our diamond sponsor, Fosrich, fostering rich customer service across all locations island-wide.
Reggae Sumfest is back July 14 to 20. Get ready to turn up the heat and volume on Nationwide 90 FM as we broadcast live from Reggae Sumfest. Nationwide's broadcast kicks off at 8 p.m. on night 1 and night 2 for the Reggae Sumfest. That's 8 p.m. on July 19 and 20. Tune in as we capture the electrifying atmosphere of the Caribbean's largest reggae festival.
These rows of flames are catching a fire.
We'll bring you exclusive interviews with top artists, chat with excited patrons, and describe the hottest performances. Whether you're at the festival or vibing at home, Nationwide 90 FM has you covered. So don't miss a beat or a rhythm when you tune into Nationwide 90 FM at 8 p.m. on July 19 and 20. Experience the ultimate vibe and get your reggae fix with Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Down Sound Entertainment, Hospital Montego Bay, Fairview Medical and Dental, and Grace Foods.
8:36 on the clock. 8:36 on the clock, and this is Nationwide this morning. Getting closer to the segment where we do the birthday greetings for you. Jeremy, there's a tune. Mr. King. Oh, before I go to the tune, I got a call yesterday from the gentleman. It is, if you're talking about the greatest voices in broadcasting. And so when you talk about voices, you make it look like, they only have the voices, but there's so much to that man's voice. A wise man, an outstanding broadcaster. And then when you take his voice in, his voice is something by itself. His voice has its own career, separate and apart from the man and the substance that comes with the voice. So, King, I got a call yesterday from the great Michael Anthony Cuff. Says that he spends a lot of time in Canada these days, and he was most gracious about the part that Nationwide plays in his life and entertainment, meaning the fact of the news and how he consumes the news and the conduit that Nationwide provides, connecting him to the issues in Jamaica. And he was just very effusive in his praise of Nationwide and its personalities and the whole team. And he asked me to convey to the whole team that he listens and he really appreciates what we do, and he loves the Nationwide family. He considers himself a part of the family, and he's really appreciative of the talents of the people who make it happen at Nationwide daily. So, Michael Anthony Cuff, we can't even imitate that. That bigger than me. Understand? Yeah, the man said, he loves the work of Nationwide 90 FM, and he wants me to big up all of the people in town.
Trust me, George. There's a water ad.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember which water. Is Lifespan? I don't remember which one. But the way he goes down, he speaks from the diaphragm.
The diaphragm.
Yeah.
No, sir.
He just puts you in a calm. I'm saying that should have been more than 60 seconds.
Yeah, man. We just there as a pala, as the graduates say.
Listen.
them work here. For them man, they work this. We just there pass through. Yeah, man. So the supreme voice, Michael Anthony Cuff. Yeah, man. The man say. Yeah. Him love NNN. Bad.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I did see a couple comments during the Quality Talks segment. So we're going to note those. Tam was asking what action for the failure if companies out there don't meet the testing standards. So we'll put that question to Hunston or another person from the BSJ when they return for next week's segment. And Austin Davis was saying, ask him if they go to the bars to check on the alcohol as well. So we'll note those questions from our YouTubers and put them to the representative of the BSJ who comes next week.
Mr. King, as we draw closer to the birthday segment, Mr. King, may I have... Michelle, you're saying? You have East Central, but hold on. No? Mr. King, just give me a little piece of thing, no, man. In keeping with the Rasta theme, give me a piece of Persistence by Norris, man. No? This is for all of the people who are struggling on this day with the absence of services and the attendant misery. And Tana said, come like she go back into the past over the weekend, given the conditions that she experienced and that she saw people experiencing and heard people experiencing. So just play this for just inspiration this morning. Come, Mr. King, let's go, sir.
Persistence is to try throughout this precious time. You can't give up the fight. Jah is the way to life. All when you down and in distress, never let Babylon know you weakness. All when your burden is the heaviest, never let them know. Listen, persistence is to try throughout this precious time. You can't give up the fight. Jah is the way to life. All when you down and in distress, never let Babylon know you weakness. All when your burden is the heaviest, never let them know. Me say them system of fraud, the struggle it not easy, don't a dirty eye hard. We not go sell out this world, we get no round of applause. Positive movement, not a negative thoughts. Tell them clean in them heart. Things what they do is not what we do. Things what they say is not what we say. Things what they preach is not what we preach. Me still just Trinity, some take the mark and the beast.
Persistence is to try throughout this precious time. You can't give up the fight. Jah is the way to life. All when you're down and in distress, never make Babylon know your weakness. All when your burden is the heaviest, never make them know.
It takes persistence to go through the world. Firm up yourself, seek salvation first. If just say a blessing, no Eden, if it's a curse. Renegade war, female shall be heard. Can't style off on street and lakes. Man be militant and no stop from search. Know before you defile yourself with your words. Purge out your system first. Persistence is to try throughout this precious
Can I tell you something? Can I make a confession now? You know, there were a couple moments in high school where you feel like some boy. Like you feel like yeah, waste your granny money. I swear to you.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. You know, as I listen, I tell people, you know, life isn't difficult as a young person. It's growing up that's difficult. Schoolwork not hard. No, sir. There's nothing that we did in school that was hard, that was outside of our capability, because these are scientifically prepared based on the age group and what we're taught. We're given the skills to solve the mathematical problems, do the chemistry, do the physics, do all of these things. Mm-hmm. It's growing up that gets in the way, and of the schoolwork and the focus.
Yeah.
You know, as a young teenage youth, you know, you're coming to yourself and, you know, your friends that do these things and girl and all kind of something, and it just get mixed up. Mm-hmm. And you feel like you're losing your way. I think the great thing was that you felt like you were losing your grip on what your mission was. And it happened to me a couple of times. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And I sit down to myself and I said, hold on, I said, really, I waste too much money. And this song helped to bring me back, I must confess. Yeah, man. When I listen to the words of this song, truly inspirational, and for my antecedents and everything, it had a specific ring, and it touched something specifically, and it just brought me back to perspective to say, all right, you know what? Yes, enjoy your youth, but you have to have a limit on how far you go with the things that other teenage boys are doing. You have to limit yourself. You have to have discipline, because there's an end goal in sight. And at the end of the day, you want the people who sacrifice to give you a chance at a better life, you want them to feel proud.
Yeah.
And as my granny always tell me, Natana, she said, listen, I am not investing in you so that you can come and mind me. I am helping you so you can help yourself. Mm-hmm. I am investing in you so you can go as far as you want to go. So I'm not looking at any reward from you when you pass over the hump. It is my job at this point in time to give you the things that you need so that you can get the things you want.
Yeah,
man.
I wish more parents and grandparents or guardians would see it that way. But as you know, for a lot of parents in Jamaica, you have a pension.
She made that very clear to me, and she made it clear to me aggressively. She said, no, don't get it twisted, you know. Me, no one, nothing from you. Mm-hmm. My lot in life is to help you to be able to take care of yourself.
Yeah. And that should be how it is. And then when you get to where you want to be and with your kids, you know, you're passing on the same thing.
Yeah, man.
I'm trying to get you even greater than where I am
in
life. And that should be the trajectory as your kids go on to have kids and their kids go on to have kids. And people know more than ever, George, I realize that more people are having the conversation about generational wealth and all of that. Mm-hmm. And that's how you build it, based on what your grandma said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Someone is asking if she's still with me. No, man. She left in 2010. She left in August 2010, you know, boy. Mm-hmm. But she left good things. And, you know, as I said to you, it's good to be able to have the characteristics to do a self-check It is very necessary to be able to self-check and say, all right, what am I doing right now? What am I doing? And it was in those moments in high school. Can't forget it. At about 14, 15, I said to yourself, hold on there. The course you're on right now, you're going to disgrace your granny. Yeah. You're going to waste our money. You're going to turn out to be a big failure. You need to focus, sir. Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Make a plan to stay on top of your mortgage. Stick to it. Pay on time. The time by the NHD is
8:47.
The Birthday Club is brought to you by Burger King, the best tasting burger under the sun.
Still we striving for better, and we not gonna stop till the battle is won and we get justice. Cause if you lose your stand, anyone will try to push you over and over. Lift up your head and hold it up high. We know that we'll win the prize. Lift up your head and hold it up high. We know that.
Hey, Everton Blender complexion is the blackness of Everton Blender is like the beautiful mahogany. Yeah, man, the man is not a normal black man. The man, the real African, just strong in him. And you know, as I said, beautiful mahogany. Yeah, every time I see Everton Blender, I'm struck by his skin. I mean, I say, yes, man. See African, the royal. Yeah. He's just regal. Yeah, man. Big up yourself, Mr. Blender.
Black skin is on another level.
Yeah, man.
It's beautiful to look at.
Yes.
Smooth.
Yes. Mahogany smooth, man. Everton Blender.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
It's that time of the morning when we tell some very special people happy birthday. And this is a very special one. Mrs. A says, good morning. On Sunday, July 14, Mrs. Viola Beswick celebrated her 100th birthday with family and friends in the GTA. She's a healthy, alert, lucid, and independent centenarian who is loved. Happy 100th birthday to you, Mrs. Beswick. Yeah, man.
Mrs. V.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, man. 100 not out.
Yeah.
Batting well.
Hope you had an amazing one. And you hear it? She's healthy and alert.
Yes, man.
Yeah.
Independent, you know.
Independent.
Yeah, man.
You got to have a conversation with her. She's going to challenge you at 100. Amazing. Happy birthday to you. Happy 30th anniversary to Colin and Antoinette Thomas. Greetings coming from your sister from another mother, Michelle, your granddaughter, Amelia, and your Hope Center family. So happy anniversary to the Thomases, celebrating 30 years of marriage. Hope you guys have an amazing one. And this one says, please send happy birthday greetings to my colleague at JSIF. Is this Judave Brown? Happy birthday to you. She celebrates her birthday today, the 16th. Yes, happy birthday to you, Judave Brown. Hope you have an amazing day. Over on Facebook, happy birthday to Verona Edwards, Karen Layla, Vanessa Brown, Samantha Nowak, Alfonso Fraser. Happy birthday as well to Patrice Dubidad. Happy birthday to you. Hope you have an amazing one as well.
Enough of the YouTube, you know.
Let's check some more birthdays in the YouTube
Marigold
chat.
dropping a couple. Marigold says, happy birthday to Kenzie Wilkins from his mom, Danette Scarlett Wilkins. So Kenzie Wilkins, your mom, Danette Scarlett Wilkins, is saying happy birthday to you. And Marigold is advancing that greeting.
Dahlia Shirley sending happy birthday greetings to her friend at work in Brooklyn, New York. Happy birthday to Dahlia's friend in New York City. Hope you have an amazing day. And Auntie Barbara Ellington here on YouTube is sending happy birthday greetings to Mrs. Jennifer Bolt. Happy birthday to you, Jennifer Bolt. And the message to you this morning from Auntie Barbara, she says, live life to the fullest, dear lady.
Marigold Weber again. Happy birthday, to listen to this one, to Nerika Richard from her daughter, Deninika Robinson.
Wow.
Yeah, so Nerika Richard, happy birthday to you from your daughter, Deninika Robinson.
Unique name.
Yeah.
And now I have Delia Shirley's friend's name. Her name is Dora. Dora over there in Brooklyn, New York. Happy birthday to you again from your friend Delia Shirley.
All right. So which other one now? Let me see now. I saw another one, you know. Des Smith or Smythe says, happy birthday to Khalid Smith. So Des Smith says, happy birthday to Khalid Smith. Yeah? Yeah, man. Is there any more?
That seems to be it. Here comes Angela Greaves. Says, my niece Kelsey Greaves, it's her birthday. So happy birthday to you, Kelsey, from your auntie. She says, love you lots.
So there's a person here, Cindy Lynch, says, Rebecca, must be talking to somebody in the chat. George was my former co-worker, but didn't know he was a Tommy Trouble. Ask him if he knows Marlene Lee, Zena Ferguson, well, it was actually Zena Ferguson, etc. from ICC. Of course, Marlene Lee, yeah, man, I'm a big friend, Marlene and Zena. Very studious, soft-spoken lady, very nice. Yeah, ICC. I worked at ICC. That's the first place I ever worked on. Yeah, when I left high school, I worked for 2 years before going to university, which was the best decision I ever made. I think without that, I wouldn't be I wouldn't have been what I ended up being.
Yeah.
So in an environment with adults, professional environment, it taught me some serious. So by the time I went to university at about 18, 19. I had 2 years work experience solidly under my belt, so it made me more mature in my outlook.
Yeah.
I think if I had gone to university as a boy, as a little boy straight out of high school, it would have gone wrong, I think. Given me and my proclivities. So I'm very, very happy for this 2 years at ICC. And yeah, man, Marlene Lee, Zena Ferguson, all those people, yeah, wonderful people. And they took to me, you know, as a little boy in the place. Yeah, man, they really took to me and they helped me along.
And George, Auntie Barbara is telling us that the Jennifer Bolt, she's sending happy birthday greetings.
You seen, Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey.
So happy birthday to Usain's mom,
Mama Jenny.
Jennifer Bolt.
Yes,
again, hope you have an amazing day.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Absolutely, absolutely.
That's all the birthdays.
That's what I want to know.
I see Robert sending happy birthday greetings to Christine. Happy birthday, Christine, coming from your husband, Robert, and your son, Stephen.
Yeah. You know, people weird, Jermaine. I remember during this period of Buju, and we know that a lot of the YouTubers no too in a Buju because of Buju's appearance at conference. But come on now, I mean, you know, Buju have a right for, you know, whatever. But is it this period of Buju? You know what people's criticism of Buju was at the time, Turner? Say, he might try be like Bob Marley. So I said to myself, but Lord of mercy, you're trying to emulate. If that was true, and I don't think he was, but that's what a lot of people are criticizing him for. So I said, hold on there. You are criticizing the man for wanting to be like the greatest who ever did it? That makes sense to you? You should laud him for following the best example. I heard you, King. I'm going to do that, my friend. But I'm just saying, you are criticizing the man for, in your view, wanting to be like the greatest who has ever done it. You should applaud him.
That's
not criticism. That's not gross criticism.
That's always say, man.
Anyway.
We say, look at them copycats and all those sorts of
so
criticism.
the man was trying to find his own way.
Listen, it's a good thing to be inspired by greats.
So I left this one for the last part. Juliet Holness, the Member of Parliament for East Rural St. Andrew, the mother of two boys, well, two sons, big man them no, I can't call him boy again, yeah, and the wife of Andrew Michael Holness. Juliet Holness celebrates her birthday today. Yes. So, King, have a tune? You have something?
Happy birthday to the Speaker of the House.
Yeah. But yeah.
Juliet Holness.
Yeah.
Celebrating
Mrs.
her
Holness.
birthday today.
JAH. good morning to you and happy birthday. And also sharing the bill with you, Mrs. Holness. I'm sure you like this one. Sherika Jackson.
Jacko.
Yeah? Superstar sprinter. Yeah? Yeah, man. Champion. Yeah? Champion. Her birthday today as well. Alright? So, Juliet Holness, Sherika Jackson. Happy birthday to both you ladies. And both of you live in the fast lane in different ways. Alright? And continue running strong.
Those are all the birthdays. Happy birthday to you if you're celebrating your birthday today. And if you're celebrating your anniversary, happy anniversary to you as well.
The Birthday Club was brought to you by Burger King, the best tasting burger under the sun.
Don't let them fool you. Don't believe for a minute.
That's about it for the show. Thank you so much for tuning in to Nationwide this morning, NTM. Thanks to our technical operator, the musical maestro Jermaine King, our super producer Michelle McCrae Smith, our editor Kimone Thompson. Up next is the Consumer Hour with me.
Nora is hors de combat for the moment. She'll be back in short order.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, Tana will run that leg of the relay. And Tana can run, you know. Tana says she run her champs.
I'm a great runner. Well, I don't know anymore.
You have footage, King, of Tana running her champs? We're in the process of acquiring same. All right. We're going to present some footage, listeners, of Tana running her champs for the Hampton School. Okay?
Cool.
Good.
And at 10, you have Cliff Hughes Online. I'm Tana Thomas.
Yeah, man. Judge.
Good morning.
You've just heard Nationwide this morning on Nationwide 90 FM.
Don't dare believe 1 minute they don't like you. Why try to make I unhappy? I don't know. If it was up to them, my friend, we would never see the sun or the snow.
Fearless and fair. Nationwide 90 FM.
If you're a parent living in Western Jamaica and your child needs specialized health care, that often means making the long and painstaking journey to Kingston.